What are you're at 100K, aren't you?
Yeah.
You bum over there. I'm just kidding.
All right, I think we're good.
I've overly invested in my setup.
Well, that's a good thing, though.
You gotta put the effort in.
Yeah. All right, yeah, I think we are live.
Great.
It looks like
what ad are you
going.
getting?
What ad are you getting?
What ad are you getting? Because I'm getting stuff for baking supplies.
I
There's
didn't
a
get
family. They're baking brownies together. It's a very wholesome ad. Now it's a Tim Hortons ad. This is just the Canadian algorithm.
I have YouTube Premium. So.
Do you use your Canadian Tire money to buy Tim Hortons?
Tim Hortons, this is going to sound entirely un-Canadian of me. Tim Hortons is not good. I've never been to Tim Hortons and been satisfied. The coffee is super acidic and bland and watered down tasting, and the service, it always takes way too long for like a sandwich. It's not good. So people just like it because it's a Canadian company, but it's not good. Anyways, your stream layout here looks beautiful, Jesse. It looks.
Thank you.
It looks way gorgeous.
It almost looks like you know what you're doing.
Almost. I actually had it because at first I thought it was just going to be Daniel and I. That's why it took a little bit longer to have it set up for the 3 pictures.
Yeah, because you messaged me yesterday. I honestly didn't realize that you messaged me because you never message me. Just being honest. I usually respond, but I think I saw the notification. I'm like, yeah, he's not saying anything to me. That's just... it must be the game cast chat talking about something. He's not actually talking to me. Remember how you said, "Oh, I'll be there at my last event, my Prime Gaming Fest event for the Game Awards," and then you never responded and weren't there.
Well,
No, you made a promise right here on the show.
I know. I'm saying I have no excuse. I woke up like 30 minutes before it started and was like, "Oh my god, how the heck did I sleep all day?" And then I barely had time to get ready for my own stream, but it ended up working out. The stream was, or not the stream, Game Awards. We can talk about that as well.
Yeah, that was a thing that happened.
Yeah.
Zelda won something
recently. It did. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Hylian Gamescast, episode 180. Today we have the one and only Nate from Nintendo Prime here, and the
man himself,
the one guy, 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗏𝗃.
That's right. Greg.
Greg.
No, I only wish I were Greg. I only wish.
Today we're going to be talking about Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. That is the hardest title in the world to say. I keep wanting to say Breath of the Wild 2 or Breath of the Kingdom or Tears of the Wild or something stupid. I'm an idiot. Ignore me, everyone.
They took too long to tell us the title, in my opinion. Like, it was supposed to be this big spoiler thing, and I'm going to be honest, I don't feel spoiled about anything.
I have a theory about that, though, in that when Bill Trinan said that whole thing about the title being a spoiler, I really think it was just fluff. Like, it was just he had to say something to get them to stop asking about it. So he just said whatever, and it didn't actually mean anything. Like, I wholeheartedly... Because why would a game's title be a spoiler? You know, like no game is going to put a spoiler in right in the title. It doesn't make any sense to do that, right?
Well, that was the idea that I had on it was, obviously he wasn't allowed to say no matter what, whether it being a spoiler was him being serious or if it was him saying what he needed to say under NDA or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because if you just say, no, I'm not going to tell you, then everyone's going to be like, oh, he's mean, I don't want to follow him anymore. Right. And he can't
it's the PR
actually
fluff.
say it. Yeah. So whenever he said it, my thoughts were, well, we're going to know the title before the game comes out anyways. So whether we learn now or a month before the game releases, if the title is a spoiler for what to expect in the game, then either way it's still going to be spoiled. So
I would have preferred to know it like a year or two ago. Because I think the whole Tears of the Kingdom is hard to say is because they revealed this game ages ago and never gave us a title.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I mean, Breath of the Wild 2 or the sequel to Breath of the Wild was like the common
The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Like Breath of the Wild's brought up even in the official media for it, and it's like, well, okay, but it's not going to be called that, and now you have me calling it that for years.
Yeah, totally.
It's hard to switch over to Tears of the Kingdom. I don't actually think Tears of the Kingdom is that hard to say. It's not any worse than A Link to the Past. It's just
right. It's funny though, is that I don't remember having this issue with Breath of the Wild's name reveal. You know, we went from calling it, oh, is it Zelda Wii U or Zelda U, and then Breath of the Wild, and we all like adapted very quickly. But I guess because it's not so. Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. Yeah, I think it being a sequel had it so like attached to that that vernacular. You know, like just calling it Breath of the Wild 2.
A sequel to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. It's like, well. Okay, well, the other one was literally just, I don't even know what they called it. Just The Legend of Zelda for Wii U. I don't even remember what they called it.
That's exactly what they called it. The Legend of Zelda for Wii U.
It's better than... should have called it The Legend of Zelda for Switch, and I would have been like, all right, so Zelda Switch is a thing.
Right.
I think it's a better situation than what happened with Twilight Princess, to where they just kept calling it Wind Waker 2, despite it clearly looking and having nothing to do with Wind Waker, and then people were playing it on stage and they're talking about it as if it's actually going to be called Wind Waker 2. And
Really? I don't remember them calling it that in any official press release. But I was not at the time following the press side of things as closely as I am now. So
it was, I wasn't back then either. I always knew Twilight Princess as anytime I tried looking it up at the time, it was always The Legend of Zelda tentative title. But I only found that out where Aonuma and everyone was calling it Wind Waker 2 while people were demoing the game at E3. Whenever I was trying to talk to Pear, and he kept on giving me names of people that went to that E3 because Nintendo showed off an extended version of the trailer that they had at the thing. And it's supposed to have had like 15 or 20 more seconds of the 2D top-down dungeon style that they had.
Which I'm so glad they didn't stick with, honestly.
Yeah.
Like boxing
Did you guys
themselves
see
in.
that somebody found like an extra 2 seconds to 2 of the Tears of the Kingdom trailers? That I don't know how they found them. It was like on the Nintendo website. It's like an uncut 2 seconds. Like actually gets a jump cut. It's funny because they made like a big deal about it on like Reddit and another forum, and I'm sitting there watching it on repeat because this is what you're just sleuthing. What the hell's going on with these extra 2 seconds? Like there's the one where Link's running in the kind of yellowish island, and he's running. Well, yeah, he just runs a little bit more, and it's like, but there's nothing. There's nothing here. It's just him going forward a couple extra frames that we don't get in the original trailer, but there's nothing here. And then the other one's like the same thing where he's falling through the clouds for a couple extra frames. And I'm like, it's really cool that you found some uncut footage. Also, it's nothing.
You said they found it on the Nintendo website?
I literally thought making a video. Guys, we've uncovered some brand new, but like, it's nothing. There's nothing. I mean, it is something. It technically is not there in the original trailer cut, but it doesn't add anything. It's like, God, would it be cool if you found something actually meaningful?
Yeah, I mean, if it's just more frames of the same thing we already saw, that's not really significant, unfortunately. It's cool, though, that they found it. But
yeah, it's cool that you found it. It's like, oh, well, maybe you can use that to find extra frames of future trailers, and maybe there's something.
I'm now wondering if that was... Because the video that I use, or the trailer that I use for my videos, I found going through all the HTML code and stuff on Nintendo's Tears of the Kingdom website. So I wonder if it was the same video, or if Nintendo just had like a weird updated version of it.
I don't know. I'll go find the thread on it.
But yeah, that's interesting. It kind of reminds me of how many frames was it that was found on the Zelda 64 trailer that we talked about last time?
That was like 300 frames or something. But, when you have like the video at like 24 frames per second, or however many frames the not necessarily the game, but the VHS tapes amount of frames, it ends up actually only being seconds of footage. But sorry, the video of this podcast just started playing on my phone and the volume was loud. So anyways, I'm trying to find
multiple devices. He's up in the view count.
I was actually opening my phone to find the N64 thing that we were just talking about, but oh, look at that. I've got a nice little Twitter notification from Nintendo Prime. Incredible.
Incredible.
Not the mailbag time yet, but I really want to answer this question from Corey, who asks, didn't Twilight Princess use the same engine as Wind Waker, just with different graphics skin on top? Yes, and I think it's the same. It was the same engine from. Yeah, it was heavily modified, but it was the same engine running from like Zelda 64 all the way until debatably Skyward Sword.
I think Skyward Sword. Yeah, they kept using this. They kept modifying, but using the same basic engine, which is not actually necessarily a bad thing, because you have then all these games have like a cohesive feeling. You know, like they all feel like the same series. They don't feel like drastically different to play than each other, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So I don't mind that, but it is almost like you see at the point of Skyward Sword, where it's like, this is dated now, you know. this feels dated. Skyward Sword's a great game, by the way. I'm not dishing on the game, but like just the way. Also, with constantly modifying that engine, you have an issue where in like Twilight Princess, because some of Link's like moves and animation are basically taken right from Wind Waker, they feel a little weirdly stiff, because like when he does some of the hidden skills like the backslice and helm splitter, those exact animations are taken from Wind Waker with a much smaller Link. So when he flips around, it feels more natural. When Twilight Princess Link does it and he's all lanky, it just looks weirdly stiff. Which is, you know, just fine. The game's great. The game's still great, but it's just like weird issues with that method of doing things. I found it on Twitter here. It was 365 frames of Zelda 64. The issue with it is that they all have like this huge thing covering it that says like Nintendo 64 and then some Japanese writing, but it exists. But yeah, that's like, so like all of the footage has that blocking it or in front of it, which is too bad. But still very cool to find, because all of that beta stuff was not actually in the game. Like you have that beta Castletown area that is like actually a expansive town and not just like a pre-rendered, not, what's the term? Pre-rendered backgrounds. You know what I mean? I don't remember the right term, but the way they do it with Castletown has a very basic geometry, and then they have that I want to say pre-rendered background. I don't remember if that's the right term. I feel like that's not the right term, but you know what I'm talking about.
Super chat.
But I think in the background there was like almost a still image.
Yeah, it's like a still image. It's a high quality still image, more high quality than you'd get by doing more complicated geometry. But then you can't have as much like dynamic camera movement then, right? Sorry, Jesse, super chat, you said.
Oh yeah, from Taker610 says, what makes a gaming engine an engine exactly? I don't know. I assume it's called engine because it's what makes the game work. And
there you go. A gaming engine is a software development environment, also referred to as game architecture or game framework, with settings and configurations that optimize and simplify the development of video games across a variety of programming languages. A gaming engine can include 2D or 3D graphics rendering engines in it that are compatible with different import formats, a physics engine that stimulates real-world activities, and artificial intelligence as well that automatically responds to the player's actions, a sound engine that controls the sound effects, and an animation engine, and a host of other features. So it's basically all the tools used to build a video game make up an engine. And this is why, if you guys think like Breath of the Wild has its own custom engine. Well, they had to custom build it because the current engine couldn't do the stuff they wanted it to do in Breath of the Wild. And that's why oftentimes games that have a lot of time put into them, the best thing to do is to build a custom engine for it, because usually there's not a single engine that will do everything you want it to do, when you're doing something you've never done before. The ragdoll physics and the flying, like that was all new. So they wanted something that was different. Even the grass reacting in the way that it does, like they needed a new engine for all that. But when it came to the last 3 Zelda games, really the only thing major, I guess, would have been adding the motion controls in for Skyward Sword. Otherwise, it's mostly just changing up animations. Like even though Link is lighter in the Wind Waker, there's nothing happening in there that would necessitate a new engine. And this is also why you see like we use standard engines, like Unreal Engine or
Unity or
Unity is really popular with indies. Like if you could do your ideas within that engine, then you'll just do it because it's cheaper. Developing an engine is very expensive.
If the developers are good, then they can custom build the engine specifically for the console that they're making it for. That way it can take as best advantage as best as they can of the console and the CPU and the RAM and everything. Whereas when you take Unreal Engine or Unity or something, you're having to try your best to optimize it because it's not made just for Nintendo Switch or just for PlayStation. It's designed for PC and PlayStation and Xbox and Ouya.
It also, on this train of thought is why when often I hear people say this, or I read comments online about this where people are like, oh, I want to see Twilight Princess remade in the Breath of the Wild engine. And to me, I'm like, okay, but that to me suggests, do you actually know what the engine is and what it's doing? Because what you're actually meaning is, I want an open world Twilight Princess game, or I want Twilight Princess in this art style. But that's not what an engine is. An engine is not art style, because you can have games like Yoshi's Crafted World and Link's Awakening and these hyper realistic fan made tech demos that are all Unreal Engine, but they're not the same art style. And gameplay style, like an open world game versus a linear game or a platformer. An engine does not necessitate or facilitate that gameplay style. So when people say things like that, I'm like, why though? Like, can you explain why you mean that? Because I don't think you actually mean you want the engine. You mean you want some element of this game implemented into this idea. And what would that actually contribute to the gameplay? Like, and often it's just people mean art style. And it's like, no, they don't need to do this engine for this art style.
Tech demo. That's what they want. The Wii U tech.
Yeah, even though this is my major spicy hot Zelda take, is I don't care for that Zelda Wii U tech demo. I think that it looks ugly. There's lighting effects that look like they're baked into the textures, and it just looks a little dated very quickly, in my opinion. Some of the lighting effects are really nice, but like Link's
it sounds like you're just describing Twilight Princess in general.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure.
Well, it's almost like going with realistic art styles. They don't actually age very well.
This is true. But I like Twilight Princess a lot, but the art style is, in my opinion, one of the weaker points of the game. And I feel like they can stick with people say it's realistic art style. I say like environmentally, yes. But like as far as the characters go, it's like very anime. So they didn't have to lean into realism necessarily when they made the game. But obviously they were trying to appeal to a certain market, which is us. But like the things I like about Twilight Princess, the visuals are not usually on that list. So
I was trying to find it. I remember an interview where they said that there was like 3 or 4 people that worked on that tech demo. And so I think that, which I guess it's impressive for 3 or 4 people, but I can understand what you're saying though.
It's something a lot of people just want to see it because they really love the more realistic looking Zelda. So I think they just want it.
Yeah.
Which I
get that. That's why I think Breath of the Wild's art style is like the strongest in the series, because it takes the elements of realism, like in the environment. Then the Switch cannot necessarily do it or handle it always, but if you emulate the game in 𝗵𝗵𝗃 or something and you have the settings up right and your computer can handle it, the game is actually incredibly detailed, and the environments are really gorgeous, and the gravel on the ground is like weirdly really good looking, things like that, right? But then the Switch can't necessarily handle it. But then you also have the things like the cell shading and the lighting and the character models where they lean into the less realistic design, and it seems like the perfect compromise there of those art styles, which is why I think that's like the best art style for the series. My opinion, of course, but yeah, it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. And this game's like 5 years old, and I still, whenever I play it, I still like stop to admire the scenery, because I'm like, wow, this game is actually beautiful. So
wow, amazing.
Wow, it is. But you run that game in 𝗬𝗵𝗲, and you can get some like really
that's
gorgeous stuff.
It's jealous of what could have been if this game was on a different platform, because
well, if it gets re-released in the future, like in 5 years, they come up with a Breath of the Wild definitive edition or something with new funky modes featuring Dante from the Devil May Cry series.
Yeah, I think Nintendo will just straight port it. They won't even do anything to it.
Yeah, but even just straight porting it, just having it run on more powerful hardware and all the pop-in being reduced and stuff, the game will look like, and being like a proper resolution instead of 900p, it look gorgeous. They don't need to do much with it.
I mean, if they just straight port it, then it wouldn't. It would just still be 900p.
Oh, well, damn it. I want a little higher resolution.
Yeah, I mean, actually putting in effort and not just straight porting. Because straight porting, they don't really change anything. They just bring the game over.
Just get Tantalus to do it. Then they can focus on whatever else they're doing.
On 𝗬𝗵𝗲.
Sorry, Jess. We're derailing.
No. This is a different track on that same derailed track. On 𝗬𝗵𝗲, when you go into like the graphic enhancements and stuff, it gives you options to increase the draw distance for the foliage, the detail of the trees and everything. The shadows, reflections, all of that. So I don't know if that was something that someone who worked with the 𝗬𝗵𝗲 emulator custom did, or if that was something that was just naturally like settings that you could just unlock in the game or something. But if they're able to make it look the way it does, not even at 4K, because that gets serious here, but if it was just like a straight 1080p and not 900p half the time, and then it drops down to 20 frames during certain moments, or not 20 frames, from 30 to like 20, and then from 900 to 720. But yeah. And then with the Wii U tech demo, I kind of knew that wasn't going to be the Zelda game that we were going to get when they showed it off, because it seemed like it was doing everything it could just to run that scene with no real AI and just rendering the single room. Yeah. So like, if it was using all the Wii U's power for that one room, imagine it dropping to like 2 frames a second as soon as you step into Hyrule Field.
That's
what?
That's maybe a bit of a hyperbole, but I because I assume having the boss and everything like that would take up more. Hyrule Field is not super busy in Twilight Princess, at least. So, but yeah,
that's pretty bare.
Itty, what itty. Still a great game though.
Can you turn your mic up a little bit, Nate?
Yeah.
There it is.
I got it. I got you. I switched mics.
Do you have like a little mixer beside you?
Yeah.
Nice.
No, I switched mics.
So here's a question for you, Nate. Do you have not a Steam Deck, but a Stream Deck, which I always accidentally mix up when I'm talking about them?
I have both.
You have both?
No, I don't have.
How do you like having a Stream Deck? Do you actually find it is useful? Because it's basically just like glorified hotkeys, right?
Kind of. Yeah. I mean, that's what I would say they are. I think it's really convenient. Like all my scene switching's on it, so I don't have to click on the scenes. Also, like quickly from it, I can do, different. Does this actually come through? You guys will. You guys hear that? Yeah, like so I got like all these sound effects on here. I got my music. I don't. It's just really convenient. Now, this is just what I use it for. A lot of people use it for like video editing because they'll have all their. People usually create custom macros when they're video editing stuff, so they'll put all their macros on here. And I got the XL one, so I got a billion buttons. But it's weird because I also have the Rodecaster Pro 2 mixer, which also has like keys on it that I can program to do anything too. But I will say the nice thing about the Stream Deck is the software that comes with it will plug like everything in conveniently, so you don't actually have to type out custom macros as much. So like it's got something for OBS and Streamlabs. It's got something for if you want to use voice mod and change your voice, and it's just got plugins for all that. It's just really convenient. So really, Corey wants me to
toying with.
Dang it, Corey.
Yeah, I've just been toying with the idea because it's something I've like had on my radar, but it feels like a kind of a lower priority investment where it's like, okay, I can do this or
because I run. The whole reason I have it is because I have a set that's away from the computer, so I need a way to control everything. I have a monitor, but I usually don't have my keyboard here. So while I have my wireless mouse, it's kind of like I need some way to control everything. So it's really convenient for that. So, but audio-wise, I used to control my audio through it, but now that I have an actual Rodecaster Pro 2 does like a billion things. It's really nice. When Jesse's like, "Oh, turn your mic up," I'm like, "Yeah, no problem."
Easy.
Gotcha. And even if this wasn't a high enough volume, it's okay. I can go boost the dBs. It's cool.
Sweet.
How do I sound, by the way? I have not used this mic.
Oh, you sound good. You sound great. Good.
Yeah, this is one of those Sony. These are actually, I don't know.
Sony. This is a Nintendo podcast. No,
Sony equipment over here. No, these are like the lavalier mics they use on like ESPN and CNN. Why I have them, why I spent so much money on my stuff, and yet I can't afford a frozen pizza right now. I have my priorities straight, let me tell you.
You put on a good show, though.
I try. But I sat here and I'm like, I don't want this microphone in front of my face right now. This works. Like I want the highest quality audio when I'm doing my videos, but I'm like for streams, that was the whole purpose of these mics, and I haven't used them in 6 months. And I'm like, I'll get it out and I'll just see what
I find with lav mics is they have very good sound quality for how tiny they are as well. It's
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are really, really expensive ones. I didn't pay the full price. They're very.
I have a pair of lav mics.
Brutal purchase I've ever made.
That I bought for when I was trying to do live streams of Breath of the Wild. That way I wouldn't have to have the microphone in front of my face, like you mentioned. I could just put the clip it on, and then there's no big bulky mic or mic stand to move around. And I used it maybe 3 or 4 times, but it was really good. It sounded really good, and it was I think around $50. But the odd thing is that it was like 2 lav mics that connected together that you would kind of use if you were interviewing someone.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's what this one has a 2 lav. This one has a 2 lav clip it comes with if you want to use. Because I have 2 of them. The whole, I guess the reason they do that in a professional, like if you ever watch any TV talk shows and stuff, they'll have the double lav mic thing going. And I guess that's just to make sure no matter what, they're always getting picked up by one of them. And then they just equalize in the back end. But I don't know. We started using lav mics, I think, a year and a half ago. Because one thing we noticed with the E3 extravaganza was that it was because we're always doing crazy things, all these giveaways going on and all this stuff, and we didn't want to worry about jacking into mics and all these contests and stuff happening. So we started using lav mics back then. They don't sound as good. This is a way better microphone. But when you're doing a live setting where maybe you're going to have more movement going on, It's really nice
Right.
to not worry about it. Like I don't have to worry about my proximity ever, and I don't have anyone behind the
For sure.
scenes who adjust the volume when I'm moving around. So
Yeah. That there is something to be said for that that freedom, the mobility of it for sure. And I also find that even if the sound quality is not quite as good, often your average viewer watching on YouTube, especially if they're watching on their phone or something, they're not going to notice the difference anyways. Like it's not going to be so significant.
In a live stream setting, if you have a lot going on, I think like there's nothing like I use this mic all the time in live streams, but like it's always in the way. I can't even see half the stuff on my Rodecaster, and there's like no reason for that unless it's a specific like a podcast. I care about the audio quality because we produce an audio version of it, so I want to use the mics for that. But for a live stream, it's just about having fun. As long as I sound good, and like I can hear myself, and I can hear, it doesn't sound as good as this, but also I don't have any settings dialed in right now on this. I literally just picked like condenser microphone random settings right now. So knowing me for the next hour, I'm going to be fiddling with settings and starting to sound like a robot.
Or I can just sound like this.
Wait, that's the Pumpkin Man. It's all a lie. The benefit though of not using the lav mic is that when I'm streaming, then I can do some goofy things when I get nice and close to the mic.
There it is.
I was like Twilight Princess, and then like Wolf Link is sniffing something, and I just lean in. And I'm like,
sorry, I didn't mean to. It feels like we just overtook the podcast talking about.
We just derail the podcast. It's what we do best.
So
my natural talent is derailing.
Friends with friends. We
There's a throwback.
Covered a couple of, I guess you could call them news stories. Thanks to Nate, 2 extra seconds of Tears of the Kingdom. But the news that we previously had, Nate, do you have a video on your channel that actually covers this in more detail that people can go check out if they want? But it is it's the release, or not the I said release date. Jeez, no, it's the rating for Tears of the Kingdom from about a month ago that we never covered on the channel.
For shame, man.
I know. I thought we were supposed to be professionals.
But we're not. Let's be honest. Nate's the professional here.
Yes.
We're just the goofballs.
We need a GoFundMe to have him some pizza delivered.
Oh yeah, I almost said something very unprofessional. I switched my microphone setting and it started exploding, and I was like, "Nope."
Oops.
Please do not explode.
I'm a professional that doesn't know how to use his own equipment.
I mean, that's us every time we're like doing anything.
That's right.
I could probably break.
I don't even know what happens to do anymore. It's been so long since I've looked at them. Although I know how to do this. Here we go. Increase the dB. Am I too loud? Oh, now I'm loud as hell. Holy crap. Turn that down, Nate. What are you doing? I don't like being at max volume on the slider, so I'm like trying to digitally up the dB.
Do you have a compressor?
I don't know. But yeah, there's the Rodecaster Pro 2 does like everything. It's got so it's got a mixer, it's got a soundboard, it's got all your phantom power, all your God, I can't remember. It's like 6 different audio equipment devices in one. It's got hardware equalization and a whole bunch of processing you can do right directly on the hardware. And that's what I'm going through right now because I've never actually really set this up with this hardware because I didn't have this hardware at the time that I was using these lav mics in the summer. So I really don't know what I'm doing.
You sound good though.
The story is I don't really know what I'm doing. This is just default random condenser mic setting on here.
But see, this is the good thing, is that since you have a reason to actually be messing around with your lavalier microphone, it gives you an opportunity to go through and test everything out. And if you sound kind of funky,
I guess we'll know.
Then Yeah.
More
Well, I was
Friday
talking
Night
about like
Fun?
the high-pitched voice.
Oh,
Oh, you just cut out entirely with that one.
oh, dude, I got lots of voice changers over here.
So this comes from Nintendo Life, written by Liam Doolin. They say The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom has been rated for Nintendo Switch. It's happening. Back in September, Nintendo confirmed during the presentation Tears of the Kingdom would be arriving on May 12th, 2023, Daniel's birthday. We've now got what appears every day's
That's
birthday.
not.
We've now got what
not-
appears to be the very first rating for the game, coming from South Korea Rating Administration Committee via Komatsu.
Yeah.
According
There
to
is-
Oh, what?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, read the description. There's technically a new piece of information.
According to
Oh.
a translation, the game is suitable for 12 years and up and contains some mild violence. The description says it's a role-playing game for the Nintendo Switch in which the stage of the adventure to find Zelda expands into the sky. Yep, the quote, I guess they pulled from the website or from the rating. It says, Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, in addition to the vast lands of Hyrule, the latest entry in the storied Legend of Zelda series will take you up... Oh, wait.
Yeah.
That's the one from their website. Take you up in the skies in an expanded world that goes beyond that. Look forward to Link's massive adventure starting again with The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. The sequel to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild drops for Nintendo Switch on May 12th, 2023. Do you remember whenever we covered the... It was like similar paragraphs, but they like purposefully removed one word and then had a bunch of websites edit their description of the game? Because it said something like, in the lands of Hyrule, the skies above and beyond. But they took out the beyond part, and it's like, what's beyond the sky and Hyrule? Why would you
Nothing.
take it out? Yeah, but it's like, why would they purposefully remove it if there's not... Which I think those Torii gates are going to act as portals
To
or
stop
something.
people from speculating. It's Nintendo trying to control the narrative here.
Yeah, but it's like you just got more people interested in trying to solve the puzzle.
Yes.
I'm really interested how that person found the trailer that had the couple of extra seconds, because I went all through their website, which is how I found those the beta test videos, whatever, that I sent one or two to you, Daniel. And I thought I found everything, but I guess I'm gonna have to go and study again. Nate,
Yes.
what was the bit of info that you were going to give or talk about?
I
or
don't
was it
remember
something-
because they changed it.
They changed it?
They changed it, so I'm not sure if it's real or not anymore. Had something to do, which, big surprise, saving Zelda. But I don't remember where I saw it. It had something to do with the rating. I think it's changed now, so it could have been a mistranslation. But I mean, oh my gosh, saving Zelda, what a surprise. But also, technically not confirmed.
Yeah. Well, this does
Especially
say...
playable. So like I have no idea. I have no clue. I'm trying, that's why I'm like over here trying to search. I'm like, where's the translation I saw? Or was it all a dream?
I mean, it happens sometimes. There's been interviews that I will need to find to make a video on, and I remember like word per word, and I even put the quotes in on Google to look up that specific interview, and I can't find it, and I spend days looking for it. So I give up on it, and then literally the very next video that I'm making, I'm looking for a different interview, and without using any of the search terms or the words that I needed to use, I would just magically come across the article that I was needing previously. And it's, yeah.
That seems right.
Pain in the butt.
So I can't find, the only thing I can see about Zelda is that the adventure to find Zelda or save Zelda goes into the sky.
I found the Korean website and running it through Google Translate, which is not necessarily the most reliable, but says role-playing game for Nintendo Switch with the adventure stage to find Zelda expanding into the sky.
Find Zelda.
Find Zelda. So that might be it.
Find,
but that's
Zelda's missing.
Find Zelda.
Yeah, well, she fell in that black hole.
The black hole, not the black hole.
Isn't that what that leak said?
She fell down a crevice. So our solution is let's go to the sky.
I don't even think like
find her over there, even though she went down. Who knows? Maybe she fell down a crevice in the sky.
I think that whole thing's just a big red herring.
What, her falling?
Yeah, like I think she is immediately saved. Like immediately.
I don't know. Maybe she's not. Maybe her falling is how you end up down below and then your hand gets all crazy because of it. Like you go after her.
Yeah, maybe.
But don't we see like Link catch her hand while she's falling, and then like the green hand, we see it catching Link's hand?
Supposedly.
But even then, that's from like 2019. Like it could have changed since then. Like the scenario.
They could have.
I mean, I remember one of my favorite examples is one of the old Twilight Princess trailers. It showed in that trailer the scene of Link transforming into a wolf for the first time, and that whole scene plays out completely different in the final version of the game. So
it also has the completely different starting area, like the forest or whatever.
And the whole in that trailer, the whole Twilight area is like grayscale instead of just washed out colors with high saturation and intense bloom effects, which we get in the final game.
And even with Breath of the Wild, I think they said it was like a couple of months before they had the demo or before the game released, they decided to just completely swap Korok Forest and Kakariko Village. Yeah. Just like completely swap them. Which apparently they did the same thing on Twilight Princess as well.
Because if they had left it like how it originally was, then Kakariko would actually be at the base of Death Mountain, as we are more accustomed to. So, but then they swapped the locations, which is just wild that they can lift a whole the games, man. They just cut that out, drag it over here. Game development's wild. Yeah, it's like the thing is with these old trailers, it's like we don't know how much is actually being retained and how much is being like changed, and the trailers are cut in a way to not reveal too much as well, right? So it's like it's hard to divine too much information out of them.
It's almost like we know nothing.
It's almost like that.
Well, we know something, but Daniel,
like we've had like those patents but like gameplay wise, we know something.
But patent wise, like there's patents all the time that don't actually mean anything.
That's true. But when they have a patent for a gameplay mechanic and then they show that mechanic in the trailer, that usually means something.
Well, that doesn't mean every mechanic in the patents are there.
No, for sure. For sure.
Like I really want the arrow combat flying stuff, and we've seen no indication that exists.
I want to fight a dragon so bad.
I don't know how they make it work, but I want it.
I want it.
Like here's what we know: man. We are in the sky. We do fall, and there's islands, and then they took the current Breath of the Wild enemies and just like mashed them together as if that's new. So we don't really actually like. I know there's obviously more than that, more details that we can glean from everything, but they've been very careful to not give enough to really piece things together concretely to figure anything important out other than this is a new game. And some people might say that's awesome. That's to their credit. A lot of other people have said also, I'm a little bit less hyped because we're less than 5 months out from release and we know less about this game than any other Zelda game in history heading into launch. Now, that's probably going to quickly change in a couple months, but for right now, this really is like the least we've known about a game.
Yeah. Yeah. But I'm excited when like the floodgates open. Like I'm ready for that. I'm hyped for when that happens. Whether that be just when I actually have my hands on the games or if they start going hard into marketing in like January, February. But
Are you at all concerned? This is a common complaint. I guess a concern I see come up that while we have the Sky Islands, that so far everything in the background looks like basically the same Hyrule. Obviously, a few differences here and there.
At a glance, but I mean,
Yeah,
like
we haven't seen.
I think Nintendo. I mean, I have faith in the Zelda series and the development team there, and I also know that they haven't spent 6 years doing nothing, or just making only these Sky Islands, right? So, I have faith. I think that there's going to be enough change. I mean, we've seen Korok Forest seems to be missing entirely, so we're going to have basically a new area there. Seen Death Mountain in one of the trailers. It looked like it was not erupting at all, but then in the artwork it shows Malice spewing out of it. So maybe we'll have a new area there, or like a altered area. I think there's going to be enough changes where things will feel familiar, but different enough that we're going to feel engaged, because we're going to, one, be like wanting to learn about these new things, and then two, like see what's different and what's the same. So we'll be compelled to like move forward, see like, oh my gosh, maybe if this is different, what happened over here maybe, and then you want to go over there and see what's happened to said other area, or like there's I don't feel like I'm explaining this very well, but I feel like there's going to be enough there to keep us engaged. And if the overworld was like super untouched and just super the same, we'd have this game already. It wouldn't be taking 5-6 years of development to churn this out, right? So I think, because I know the game started as DLC, so I think that was initially their plan, was a quick turnaround, but then as their ideas, as everything evolved, and as maybe that was also a concern, was they had these ideas that they're like, game's ready to go, and then they're playtesting it, and maybe that was exactly the concern, where they were like, this feels too much like the same. We need to change things. We need to work on this more. And they just keep pushing it back.
And I saw some math someone did that basically proved that Tears of the Kingdom is the most development time this ever spent on any Zelda game in the history of the franchise.
Yeah.
And it's like crazy to think all that development time, right? And we still haven't seen much, which means there should be a lot to show still. But also all that development time, and yet people do still have some of those concerns, because what we've seen is not a whole lot. And at a distance, while there's changes, a lot of the world looks pretty similar, and people want to explore new lands. And it's not really new. It's more like old, but then maybe there is new, because maybe there's land beyond. So maybe they expanded the world and we don't even know yet. Like, I have a lot of faith in the team. Like, how can you not? Breath of the Wild was amazing, and Zelda team's always done a
great track record.
Yeah, so like, but I think people worry a little bit. Like, as an example, I know there's a lot of Zelda fans worrying, like, hey, we haven't seen dungeons yet. No dungeons, I riot. And I kind of get it, because that's been in every Zelda game but one.
I mean, like, I'm the dungeon guy. I like to think like but I absolutely think there will be dungeons, because they hear the feedback. Like, they do listen. And so I have no doubt that that's going to be implemented.
How they balance listening with, hey, we didn't do dungeons and sold 25 million. So maybe they're really not that important.
I mean, there's that. There is that.
Like, combined, it's like 30 million. It's like, yeah, we just like sold the entirety of the Zelda series sales in a single game without dungeons. So maybe fans don't know what they want.
Some food for thought, though, on this train of thinking is Metroid Dread, which came out last year. An incredible game. When it was being advertised, a lot of people were saying they're showing too much of this game and they're spoiling it and everything. Like, that was a very common complaint I was hearing on Twitter and, comment sections and things like that. And when the game actually came out, almost everything that they had shown in those trailers was in just Artaria, in that first area.
Yeah. Like,
and everything outside of that. Yeah, it was like just that one area. And everything outside of that was like, oh, this is all new stuff we haven't seen before in these trailers. Or if we saw it, we saw like 5 seconds of it in a trailer, and that was it. So this is kind of taking people are saying this is the opposite approach, like, oh my gosh, they're not showing anything. But when people are saying this was too much and it was actually almost nothing, if this is all we've seen, I sincerely think this is almost nothing, and they've got all this game waiting to show us
Also,
or waiting for us to experience it.
This is a theory I have, and it could be wrong because almost every Zelda game except like the first couple sort of has like a tutorial beginning, like teaching you the ropes. And I'm wondering if, because I think like for Breath of the Wild, we basically, they blew us out, but 99% of the stuff we saw was just that opening tutorial area.
Right.
We did.
So it's the same thing as Dread then, you know, it was just that first area.
But I'm wondering if the reason they haven't done that yet is because this game doesn't have one of those areas. Like, it just presumes you've played the prior game, you know how to play Zelda. We're not throwing a tutorial at you this time. Which, for some fans, would be exciting, but that also can explain why they're not willing to show as much at the moment, because they blow out the tutorial. Oh, this is just the opening couple hours of the game. We don't care about that. But, well, the opening couple hours of the game could be a billion different things if there is no tutorial and you just jump in and go anywhere and do whatever.
That's true.
That's what they ended up doing with Majora's Mask. I remember they had interviews where 𝗷𝗛𝗆 said that they made Majora's Mask based on the idea that the people playing it would already be experts at the gameplay in Ocarina of Time.
It makes when you play that, it feels like that. Like in Majora's Mask, in the first dungeon, Woodfall Temple, the mid boss is a pair of, or is a Dynalfoes, which is a hard enemy. In Ocarina of Time, the only places you fight Dynalfoes are Gerudo Training Grounds and Ganon's Castle. So it's like the game is clearly assuming you've beat Ocarina of Time. Now here's your next game, and it feeds into that very well. That's just one example, but like even the level design, you compare those first two dungeons, or the first dungeon of Majora's Mask, first dungeon of Ocarina of Time, is Majora's Mask first dungeon is way more complex and way more complicated, and it takes way more effort just to get there. So yeah, Majora's Mask is one of my favorite games ever. So if that is the approach they're taking, I wouldn't be mad. That's for sure. I've sunk over 1,500 hours into Breath of the Wild. So if they want, you know, like I don't need to go through a tutorial.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the Zelda team's always worried about, hey, okay, yeah, but what about the people that are buying this? They didn't play the prior one, and I know they worry about that stuff. I'm sure they'll address it somehow. But like I wonder, like, you know, okay, if the Slate abilities are replaced with these arm abilities, do you get all the arm abilities right away, or is this more old school Zelda where it's like, yeah, you get these abilities, but it's slowly over the course of the whole game. And so I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how they approach this, because, you know, obviously almost 30 million people played the first one, and so there's a huge reason to assume most people interested in this already played the first one. But also, especially
when they were marketing it as the sequel to Breath of the Wild.
Sure.
So yeah. But go on. Sorry.
Yeah. But also, you know, anyone who maybe bought it the last couple of years, maybe they've vaguely heard of Breath of the Wild or seen it on store shelves, but then I'm like, oh, but I heard there's a new one coming, so I'll wait for the new one to try Zelda. And then you just get to do a super difficult game right away. But relatively difficult. Zelda in general, guys, isn't like the most difficult game ever. There's difficult aspects, and there's certainly add challenging aspects to it, but a lot of it's optional. A lot of it's not like you don't have to do that. It's okay. If it's too hard for you, just don't do it.
True.
Example,
that's the beauty of Breath of the Wild, honestly, is like I watch my son play that game, and he will just steer clear of hard enemies, and he can get through the game that way just fine. Whereas I am extremely confrontational in that game. I will go out of my way to fight these tougher enemies and stuff. So it's that level of accessibility I anticipate will remain.
I'll be back in 1 second, and I think we had a super chat a second ago as well.
We did. So we'll grab that when Jesse gets back, though, because
did they add new decorations to the super chats?
It looks like it, actually. There's like I'm seeing there's like little snowflakes and stuff.
Is that what that is? Oh, okay.
Or maybe I don't know. It looks like windy wisps and
I don't.
Maybe it's just a seasonal thing.
Why are you changing things and not telling me, man?
I like it, though.
They had that YouTube creators blog where they supposedly communicate everything.
I don't read it. I don't.
Any creator?
I don't read that.
I'm supposed to be able to monetize my shorts coming up in February, and I have no idea what to do. Apparently, it's a completely separate thing I have to apply for.
What? Really?
Yeah. I'm like, well, then you have to be already approved for ads. So I'm like, well, what about the shorts channels that can't be approved for ads because their watch time doesn't count towards getting approved for ads?
Hmm.
Oh, it sounds like a you problem.
Weird.
I'm not worried about it. I'm approved for ads. So.
I don't love shorts to begin with. I have made like a handful of them because I feel like there's some obligation towards the algorithm that I should try and adhere to a little bit if I already don't enough. So,
well, shorts. So shorts says that shorts are now completely independent of all of it.
Yeah.
So the big thing, like for me, I kind of enjoy making my shorts a little bit now because I found something that I like.
You've been churning them out too.
A little 15 to 20 second factoids. Like it's kind of cool. Like, hey, here's a quick fact. Mm-hmm. It honestly takes less than 20 minutes to edit the video and slap it together. I'm like, yeah this is not bad.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the time is just finding the facts.
When I've been trying to do them, or even editing existing videos into shorts that I've done. That's all I've done for shorts, and I've just like
that's hard.
My content is so long form.
Yeah.
You know. It's like I have trouble. It's like I only have 60 seconds.
Why don't you do a 1 minute rapid fire of all 5 news? I'm like, all right, here's headline 1, and then headline 2, headline 3, headline 4. And by the time I'm done reading the headlines, it's a minute. How'd you take a minute to read the headline? I'm like, because I want you to understand what I'm saying. I don't want it to be like,
right. That's true. It's like it works well. Like some people do just like little like 1 minute skits or jokes with it, and I think that format works well for that. But yeah, like for my content, like I'm writing like 30-minute essays. I don't need to. Yes. I can't work this into a short.
Okay, let's swing this back around to Tears of the Kingdom quick.
Yes.
I never get to talk about it with anybody. It's nice.
It's great.
It's great. How do you think they're going to do quick travel? Because I feel like they're going to replace it with something. Because we don't have the towers.
Magic. Zone. So in the last trailer, we see briefly there's a couple of spots where there's like it looks like a green spiraling like swirl pattern on the grounds, and I think those are going to be like some kind of warp points that it's going to be magic based instead of Sheikah technology based. But
do you think maybe that flying thing he lands on is him warping to his own?
Oh. That could be cool. That could be a cool way to do it.
Like, why do we have that thing when we still have the sail claw? Well, if it's just really a cutscene mechanic for a warp, and it just flies you down to that symbol, you know what I mean? Because that's the scene we see the symbol in.
Yeah, it is. You're right. I hadn't thought of that, but that's a good way to do it. Where it's like you want to fast travel, and then you do whatever input you need to do. Link lands on the bird and then it flies him there, and it's just like you could even mask the loading screen with that cutscene.
Yeah,
like Metroid Prime style. And then you've got.
I mean, if it's super crazy and they start that, and then you can jump off it and use your sail claw, that's even crazier. People will be warping everywhere trying to break this game. Then
that's true. That's true. I would love that. I mean, I'm already impatient, so I warp constantly, and then if I'm not, I'm using bomb launches or wind bombing myself around because I'm impatient. So yeah, I mean, I would love to see if that's the case. Like, I'm here for it for sure. I hadn't even thought of that. Jesse, we had a super chat. Do you want to from Mr. Taker 610, the king of super chats?
Oh yeah,
super chat king.
I thought you guys already got that one. I mentioned it whenever
we're waiting for you.
Okay.
We did comment that they added some new little like animation thing on the super chat now. It's like pretty.
Yeah. It's all pretty. Snowflakey.
Oh, it's going up too fast. I can't see it now. Hold on. Okay. Taker 610 says new hardware announced in January, Metroid Prime 4 and next Mario being revealed in February, with both being playable at E3. Too insane? ?
Nothing's too insane for Nintendo. But
I say
they are the wild cards of the industry.
Both would be February. I don't think they would do it in January.
Yeah, I kind of think so. Look, if they're going to announce the hardware early in the year, I think it would be because it's launching before the end of the year. Maybe even alongside Zelda. If you're going January, February, that feels like alongside Zelda. 3 months later. But it also depends on what the hardware is. Like if it's a new generation, I guess I could see them waiting and just hyping it up for 9 months. But if it's like a mid-gen refresh, well, then they're only going to need 2-3 months run up. So if they do an early thing like that, then it would be probably launching somewhere alongside Zelda, which then would make sense why they're holding back on pumping up the Zelda stuff, because they want to wait to show it in its absolute best light to help sell hardware as well, which we all know Zelda apparently is really good at selling hardware. Better than Mario. Mario 64 was the definitive launch game with N64, and it could not do what Twilight Princess and Breath of the Wild did. So Nintendo was acutely aware from a business perspective that Zelda could be used to push some sort of hardware. So I guess it could make sense, and then you could show off Metroid Prime 4 or a new Mario for the holidays, or both. That's entirely possible. As for being playable at E3, I mean, I think anything shown, if there's anything shown in the February Direct that's not coming out until after E3, it'll probably be playable at E3, unless it's not coming out until the following year. I mean, that's just a given. Like if Nintendo's at E3, which we have no confirmation of that yet, but assuming they are, then yeah, Nintendo basically makes everything playable at E3. Recent releases, things coming out, like everything's playable. We've all been to
Mario
E3.
Tennis Aces.
Yeah. Like we've all been
forcing
E3,
everyone to play Mario Tennis.
Any game
you're allowed to play
Nintendo the rest of the year is usually playable at E3. So.
I'll go a step further and say Nintendo will have something similar to their Best Buy event they had a few years ago, where you could go to like a local Best Buy, and there'd be like a Nintendo employee there to let you play. Was it Wii U games?
Yeah, there was a selection of games. It wasn't everything at E3, but it was like at least one of the big games and a couple of the smaller ones.
Some food for thought, though, is like I don't anticipate them revealing hardware in January because we haven't heard anything about new hardware. Like I'm thinking generational hardware. Whereas it's like leading up to the Switch reveal, which was January of 2017, which is wild. But we knew the NX was coming. You know, like we knew it was coming.
New hardware. Like everything we've heard about anything hardware wise has just been an upgrade. It's just been an upgrade. That supposedly we're hearing about it from developers that have dev units. So it's like, well, if that's all we're hearing, then it's probably not next generation hardware if there's anything coming next year at this point. But we don't really know, because like a lot of things change because it was a strange time with COVID and the pandemic and all the shortages, and so it's hard to really know. Like there could have been a plan at one point, and devs really do have these dev units, but then Nintendo decides, we're just not going to do that now. But then also we want this thing to go 10 years. Remember, Nintendo actually said 10 years at one point, a decade of Switch, which is crazy. They said this a long time ago. Technically only going to enter year 7 next year. That leaves plenty of time for a mid-gen refresh if they're going 10 years.
I know that interview, or it wasn't just an interview. They said it a few different times that I know, probably a lot. But the whole 10-year support thing, I remember like PlayStation said something similar, and I don't think it's just to keep only making stuff for the Switch for those 10 years. I think it's for the
cross.
For most of it will be primarily focused on Switch, and then for the last few years it'll start to
it's like PS4, like a lot of PS5 games are still being released on PS4, right? And it's like when Jedi Survivor was announced that it was going to be just PS5, not on PS4, and I remember people are like, this is ridiculous, how could they? And I'm like, well, PS5's been out for a while now, guys. Like hardware generations exist. Let's not forget that. Like,
sorry to interrupt.
So
but Record One super chat $2 says want to stop by and say hi, happy holidays.
Thank you, Record One. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we're almost able to buy that pizza for you, Nate.
Almost.
I mean, technically $2 will give me one of those cardboard Roma ones, I believe, depending on the sale.
There you go. It's better than nothing.
Wait, the ones you eat the whole pizza and it's like 1,200 calories, but it feels like you haven't even ate yet.
What were we talking about before the Switch? Not Switch. The 10 years of Switch.
Yeah.
What were we talking about?
Hardware
right before
reveal.
No, there,
okay.
I mean,
So
there was someone mentioned something, and I was going to look it up on my phone to find an exact quote, but I can't remember what it was. But it was right before. Yeah. Never mind. Ignore me. This is why they have rewind.
Maybe it'll come to you. Maybe it'll come to you. Well, like the 10-year thing, like I do think that was probably originally like including cross-generational time periods. But I also think like depending on what like if there's a mid-gen refresh, depending on what it is and how easy compatibility is to keep a games, at least the exclusive games being still on Switch, but also on this thing. If third parties want to do what they want to do, they can. And if people think I'm crazy on that, Minecraft is only playable on new 3DS, not the OG 3DS. Just saying, that was a mid-gen refresh, and third parties, if they wanted to, had no problem just saying, screw it, we're just only going to make this for one, not the other. But all the exclusives, obviously, were on both. So I kind of think that depending on what the current president thinks, the current president's a businessman. I try to keep reminding myself, he's a businessman. I'm so used to Iwata,
Right.
and he's a creative. This is not a creative. This is a businessman. He makes business-like decisions. And if he thinks, hey, if we just release a more powerful thing than what we already have, but we keep it the same generation, keep our exclusives cross-compatible, let third parties do what they want, boost it with Zelda, and we can sell another 20 million of this system or these combination of systems for the next 2-3 years, let's just do that. Like, why would we want to end this generation when we could just keep selling 20 million each year? Which I understand if that's a business decision he wishes to make. This is the reason the PS4 Pro exists. This is the reason the Xbox Series X existed. It was to boost sales at a time when sales were starting to decline. So I understand the thought process, and maybe it's worth considering. Switch is still insanely popular. Like Scarlet and Violet came out and became the fastest selling exclusive games of all time. Like that just happened.
Yeah.
Regardless of if it deserves to be, it did just happen. Okay.
Yes.
Just had the best selling Kirby game of all time. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I would love for this to happen. I don't know if it's going to. I would love for Tears of the Kingdom to come out and shatter the Scarlet and Violet record that they just set in 3 days. I would love it to be like, oh, we sold 12 million in 3 days of just one SKU. And I'd be like, yes. A game that probably doesn't suck. By the way, I actually like Scarlet and Violet. I just don't think there's an excuse for the state it released in. But I think the content's good. I think the content's good.
I've talked about this before. I'm just having trouble connecting with the game. Like for me, it's just like not clicking for me. But we've already had this conversation.
We have a super chat that's requesting you to do something, man.
I see that. This is Bree.
I don't know what this is. So let's go.
So the Bree's asking me to do my Kargarok impression. Kargarok is an enemy you may know from Wind Waker and Twilight Princess. Yeah. They're like the big. So specifically, it's the Wind Waker version of the Kargarok, but I need to have a little bit of moisture in my throat for it. Otherwise, it doesn't.
It's just
sound good. I was doing this. I was doing this on my stream the other day. I guess she found it funny. It's like because you always hear them before you see them in Wind Waker, you know, and you hear them like you'll come out of a door in Dragon Roost Cavern. You're on the stairs, and then you hear in a distance the. That's the sound. That's the sound.
Look, I know what that sounds from. It is not what comes to my mind when I hear that noise. We're gonna keep the show PG.
It's the Kargarok.
It's not my channel, but on my channel we be going different directions with this right now. But we'll keep this family friendly.
We'll keep this one. I think I've probably done better, but that was on a dab there. So yeah, there you go, Bree. I hope that satisfies your craving.
What is happening? You didn't warn me what I was walking into today.
Well, don't worry. We'll have some fun later.
This This is just the state of podcasts these days.
Daniel, I posted a link to a news story in the Discord if you want to take it. Well, actually, you or Nate, either one. And after this, everyone, we have some stuff from our friends at 𝗏𝗏𝗃, which is also not a very PG channel. And
friend of the channel.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, is that the dog?
Well, this story comes from Engadget. Nintendo's or Super Nintendo World will open its US doors on February 17th. So congratulations to all my American friends for getting that. So soon Americans will have access to their own Mario Kart AR ride. 2 years after Super Nintendo World's opening in Osaka, Japan, its first American counterpart will arrive at Universal Studios Hollywood. I can't read or write. I'm sorry, I'm illiterate, guys. Like the Japanese version, Hollywood Super Nintendo World is a self-contained theme park and more of a new area at Universal Studios, roughly coinciding with the release of the Super Mario Bros. Movie. The California Theme Land will open on February 17th, 2023. And the Mario Kart ride is one of the big attractions, which they showed there. But actually, the whole place looks so cute. So yeah, that's the story. I will not be going anytime too soon,
That's
personally, but I imagine that for the first while, it's going to be insanely busy. And also, I imagine it's going to be very expensive. So, yeah.
But what about all of the...
It's probably just a standard Universal Studios pass. It's probably just all included.
The busyness factor is still there. It's probably going to be hella busy. Just saying.
Yeah.
I already don't like crowds, like, to begin with.
Are you sure?
Like, being around too many people.
Crowds were your thing.
Yeah, no, crowds are definitely not my thing. I'm not a big concert guy. I'm not big into like big crowded events overall. Mostly I just don't like people being near me. So I am not. E3 was like the exception because there was so much else going on, but the crowds of people were like the big thing I didn't love there. You know, just like trying to navigate through crowds of other humans, and breathing in their lung juices and getting, brushing elbows with people that I don't know.
That is...
Yeah. The moisture in your lungs, and then you breathe it out, and then someone else breathes it in. You have to consider these things.
I don't think...
You have to consider these things.
I have no experience what you're speaking of.
Daniel,
if you've been in close proximity to literally any human being, you've breathed in their lung juices.
Nate,
that's a scientific fact.
I think Daniel had an entirely different E3 than we did.
I think an entirely different one.
I had a great time at E3, but I'm sure that was like
breathing in all the strangers' throat juices.
You're gonna come and be like, "Hi," and like, "Hold on, 20-foot rule."
Hold on. No, I actually, it's more just like I'm not the most socially talented person, so I just don't I don't do well in crowds. I start to kind of retreat a little inward. So E3, it's like I would have fun there, but I imagine that during the first few months, it's going to be super busy. Also, we have another super chat from Bree who says Jesse can do an impression of me as Bree. So Jesse, we have to hear your Bree impression now. Let's hear it. She super chatted. You've got to do it.
It's not even an impression. It's just like the noise that people always make whenever they're just annoying someone or making fun.
I did the Carter Rock. I did the Carter Rock.
It's just like
I'm so glad I don't do impressions on my channel. So
it's not even an impression. I just make fun of her, and I'm like, whatever you're saying, it just sounds like me, like Beaker.
That's what is happening?
Isn't that his name, Beaker?
Yes.
Speaker from the Muppets. Yes.
You got the right one. Oh, what did I...
Well, Animal was there at the Game
I'm
Awards.
mute.
So-
Impressions can be fun. They can be fun.
Daniel is hermit. Anyways,
Yes, that's me. I'm a hermit. I'm a hermit man.
I'm glad it's. I like theme parks. I think it's cool. Unfortunately, when it opens only in Universal Studios, kind of confirms that for me to go to any of it, I don't want to go alone, so I got to bring a friend. By the time it's all done, it's like at least $1,000 just for me to get there and back. So, probably not going to go anytime soon, like at all. Yeah, it's just probably not going to. Now, when I say that, I am going. Assuming Nintendo's at E3 next year, I will be at E3, so I could spend an extra day and then check it out then because it's right there in Hollywood.
That's fair. That's true.
So we'll see. I will probably try to plan it where I mean, we know the dates for E3 already. So assuming everything goes well, I don't want to hit on a weekend, but maybe like a Friday morning. If I arrive like Thursday night, maybe go a Friday morning before it gets busy. I don't know. I'm not going to stay. Because everything just runs into the weekend. So I don't know. I think I'm going to deal with crowds either way. I'm pretty much sure I'm just screwed.
Yeah, there you go.
Daniel's billionaire best friend.
Well, apparently. What? What did I do?
Daniel's billionaire best friend donated.
My billionaire best friend?
Yeah, he's just throwing all this money around because he just like wakes up in the morning and
hates crowds. Largest Canadian city.
That is true. Is Vancouver the largest?
I live in the middle of nowhere, Wisconsin. I'm nowhere even close to a city.
I'm a little more out in the burbs. I'm not like it's not like I live in downtown Vancouver. I hate downtown Vancouver. In fact, I don't love going there.
What's the population of your burbs?
I have to look it up.
I'm just curious compared to where I live.
I just live in Daniel has a 3rd-story basement.
So in a 2017 census, the population of my municipality is 140,000-ish.
Okay. That's a city where I'm from?
That's
where I live?
It's not part of the greater Vancouver area, though. It's like all these little cities just piggyback.
13,000 where I live. That's the population. You get 100K, we call that a city here.
Hey, I actually have
it's technically a city as well, but yeah, I mean I'm in the burbs area.
There's a city like 20 minutes from me that has.
Oh,
yeah.
My brother, meanwhile, he lives in a very small town.
So this explains why lives in the internet because nobody lives there to fix it.
True. See, I love the amenities of the city. I just want to be at arm's length of the city, like just at arm's length so I can have all the amenities. I have Costco, a close access, a good internet, and then also it's quiet and there's lots of trees. So I would live in the forest if it were feasible. I swear.
The city, if you can call it that I live in, it has a population of 2,479.
Mm-hmm. That's about the same size as the city my brother lives in. It's like really small town BC. Like he's like 10 hours up north of me. They're buried in snow right now. So I'm so sorry. But actually funny, my brother Nate actually is his name.
I have to go deal with snow. So
I live in technically the warm part of Canada, and it was like it was still below 0 degrees when I woke up this morning. So
hey.
It's cold. But
I didn't have power for 12 hours yesterday.
I love that. See, that's not an issue living in the city.
Not an issue in the city.
We have the infrastructure.
However, I have an entire house on a half acre of land for $500 a month. So I'll take that.
So yeah, that is also
definitely a pretty big advantage over living where other people
prices. Yeah, because not only am I apparently the third largest Canadian city according to Taker 610, but it's also the second most expensive city in Canada to live in. It's so stupidly expensive. Like there are apartment buildings or townhouse suites in my neighborhood that I remember looking up listings, and it's like close to $1 million listings for these places. It's like it's so stupidly expensive
And
to
now is
live
how
in
we
the city.
found out
There it is.
Daniel is
outside.
You're talking million Canadian. It's more like $200
Canadian
American, but no.
Yes, that's accurate. But I like $950,000.
Yeah, it's not quite that big of a difference. I just see a lot of it's just a lot of Canadians I talk to. They always complain about how much cheaper things are here with our US dollar. So
oh yeah, that's true. But I mean, we also have a higher minimum wage than you guys, so there is that.
And free health.
I'm a YouTuber, so I don't get a minimum wage.
That's true. Same here, actually. So
if I get the minimum wage, I need to get on the phone with YouTube right now because I am not.
When you're a YouTuber, your paycheck at the end of the week is basically like, are you lucky enough to buy a pizza?
Depends on the week.
There is that.
Yes. Yeah. Well,
Another super chat from
Bree.
Yeah,
Coming in
there
the
you go. There's your 50 cents USD.
Look at this. Look, the amount of super chats you've gotten in the stream, my guy, I can almost pay my rent.
Oh no, we're crowdfunding for that pizza.
Right.
If you need a place to stay, you can sleep in the box.
Wasn't it you that was going to order me some really disgusting pizza during my Prime Gaming Fest this past June? And then, again, another thing that Jesse talks about at times, it just never happens. It's
right.
It happens a lot.
It's just one of those things. Oh,
Calgary hasn't had a snow day since 1998, says Bree of Hyrule.
Yeah, of course. Calgary that's like the part of Canada. It's the snow cowboys. It's like the cowboy province, but there's also like tons of snow. There's just snow cowboys. That's all you need to know about Calgary.
My kid just had 3 straight days off of school because of snow. Now, to be fair, I agreed with the first 2 days. I don't agree with today. Today they were being babies. There's no reason. They
Around
should have.
here,
They just figured we already canceled last 2, and it's almost the weekend, so let's just cancel it. That's
one. Yeah, just one more can't hurt. It's Friday. Whatever.
for snow days here,
The
like
principal's like,
there
I
can
don't want to.
a single snowflake drop, and they're like, "Oh, that's it. Everyone go out, buy bread, milk, and don't drive."
Shut it down. Shut it down.
Shut it down.
Put your bomb shelters ready.
Basically,
Buy out the store supply of bottled water.
no, it really is annoying because everyone like they just go to the grocery store and buy up all the bread and milk and everything, and it's like, do you honestly think you're gonna be trapped in your house over like not even an inch of snow?
And when people are buying up the bread and the milk, you're buying the things that expire. If you think you're going to be stuck for a while, you should be buying the stuff that doesn't expire for years. Yeah. Your canned goods.
You need that
your
non-perishable.
You're buying up the perishables that are going to be done in 3 days. What are you worried about?
Well, Daniel just feeds me shoes, so
that's true. They're non-perishable. They're not going to expire. They're shoes.
I mean, there are biodegradable shoes. They might be edible.
Oh my gosh.
So
Bree said, can't wait to expose Jesse to Calgary winter. So here's a true story. I spent one winter in Edmonton, which is a few hours
spent one
away
winter
from
with
Calgary.
me.
No, but let me tell you, it's a different kind of cold there. I can't explain it. I was like, nah, I don't want to be here for winter again. I get cold enough. It's cold and wet in Vancouver. It's gross. But there's like this dry cold, and it's like you feel like the insides of your bones are freezing somehow.
Yeah.
Well, the inside of your bones are liquid.
Terrible. It's like minus 40 degrees. That's Celsius. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but
in case you didn't know, the inside of your bone, like dead center, is liquid.
Yeah, it's like
that's what I'm saying. It feels like that's the part that's freezing.
You can go into your back and pull bone marrow out. Well, that's because
and that's where new blood is made as well.
And that's the part that's freezing while you're in this Alberta winter.
I think you just need more throat juice.
Played.
Yeah. The insides, when you breathe and then you're breathing in the air so cold, you feel like inside of your lungs are freezing. Like it's it's absurd. I hate it. I hate it so much. So yeah, I'll stay in the warm part of Canada.
Super Nintendo World is a thing that's opening. It's
So yeah, I'm excited for that. Yeah. And that's in California where it's not cold.
I was actually going to get back to that. I was going to say before we get off of it, is there one specific ride or attraction that you would be looking forward to there?
Or just the Mario Kart one.
Yeah, that seems good. I just want to be around the place. I just want to like be there. You know, the rides are secondary. The vibe is first. You know.
All right.
So the vibe is a bunch of crying children. So I'm good with the vibe. I want to.
Fair enough.
Give me the ride. That's all. I want that Mario Kart ride. I heard it's really cool in Japan. I just want to ride it one time. So
well, you can bet though. This is Super Nintendo World, so it's going to be crying children and also a bunch of like the like fedora guys that are around, and they're going to be around. You walk by them, milady. You know.
Okay.
There's at least three people. There's at least three people watching this podcast wearing a fedora.
Moving forward. I need. Where's my notes? I need to write down some notes. I remember what I'm walking into next time.
Yeah. Also,
shenanigans. That's what
not
you're
that
walking
anyone
into.
cares, but I did find that quote thing that I was looking up earlier. It was about the CPU supply.
Tell us.
I'd rather not. It's more on the political side.
Oh
yeah.
Oh no. All right. Let's clear.
Let's just pretend you didn't find anything. What's the next topic?
Yeah, so the next topic, Daniel will have to cover, because I haven't watched the video yet, at least not all the way through, and I don't think Nate has either. I think you said that you didn't watch it earlier.
I don't even know what it is.
Yeah, so Daniel, seems like you're the expert.
Okay, well, we're talking about the Hard for Games video, right?
Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah, I still haven't watched it.
Hard for Games is awesome, by the way. I love Tony's a great dude. We've had him on the channel here a few times. Really friendly guy who often gets criticized for drinking beer in his videos, and it's like he's an adult man. He's having one beer over the course of like several hours while he records a video. Relax, everybody.
Yeah, that's the whole
shot of vodka during every live stream. What are we?
There is no winning.
Also,
it's okay. People
there's no winning.
I've been because I'm obese. On top of that, so people look at me and go, "Oh, look at him. He's a big alcoholic. All he does is just down the booze all day." I'm like, I haven't had a drink since the last time I did a live stream shot, which was like 3 weeks ago at this point.
There you go.
You'd be like, I haven't had a drink since this morning. Shut up.
It's all I think about. It consumes every waking moment of my life. I'm not addicted.
Hey, look,
you don't see me on camera. I'm drinking.
If someone didn't know better, they'd think Tony was on the podcast.
Right.
Yeah. So Nate, there was a day that I think it was the first time we went to E3. I was getting out of the shower and I was hearing Tony, like his voice, and it sounded like he was there in the kitchen, and it was just Daniel watching one of his videos, and I was like, "Holy crap!"
I love
Tony
his videos. He's a great dude. I like his videos a lot. He has very interesting. He's very choosy about what he actually covers, but it's for the better. Like, it's always something interesting.
Mm-hmm. So tell us about this, Daniel.
Yeah. So he put out a recent video, which I highly suggest that people go watch. He did a great job with it. If you guys recall, just to bring people up to speed, context-wise, the Giga leaks that happened a couple of years ago now gave us a plethora of cool new Zelda info. Lots of really neat information there. Beta assets, things like that. We ended up getting, like, between that and the F-Zero overdump art leak, there was, like, a huge amount of old Zelda 64 stuff that people were able to recompile and rebuild, right? One of the things we actually covered on this channel was what we thought at the time to be a sort of boss rush mode that may have been in development for URA Zelda at the time. And the reason was basically the layouts. It was like a sequence of like a room with like a treasure chest and then the boss room. So you would load into a room, open the chest or whatever, get whatever item, maybe fight a couple minor enemies, go into the next room, fight a boss, and then you would load into the next one. So it seems like, oh, boss rush mode. And hey, Nintendo doesn't like to sleep on good ideas. We also know boss rush did end up getting included in Ocarina of Time 3D later, so it wasn't a stretch to assume that that's what this was.
Well, there was also interviews where they said that the expansion on Nintendo 64 would have included a boss rush. So
right. So,
but they said
so I mean, it wasn't.
That, so
it wasn't a stretch for us to say, okay, well now we've got loaded in these dungeon files are really mini versions of the dungeons. That's like a room and then a boss room, or like a room and a hallway and a boss room. But Tony ended up paying a modder actual real world money to get these rooms into a playable state so that he could actually try them out and see what happens. And it is, from his experience, it seems like a boss rush is not actually what this was, and that it was more just like placeholder test dungeons to test essentially the hooks between Zelda 64 and URA Zelda. If you don't know what the hooks are, basically the game has built into it several spots where if you had URA Zelda, it would hook into the base game, basically, and so that they would be compatible. So basically like little ways for URA Zelda, which was going to be an expansion for Ocarina of Time, or Zelda 64 at the time, as it was called, for it to interact with the base game, the vanilla game. So it seemed like these were basically a test, like a placeholder dungeon. And when they actually implemented remixed or new dungeons into URA Zelda, they would overwrite these placeholder dungeons with the actual thing. So essentially, the story is a little underwhelming in that it seems like, oh my gosh, there's this cool boss rush mode, something new we didn't know about URA Zelda. And what it ended up actually being is, oh, these are just test placeholder maps. Less exciting than we had hoped, but I do suggest going to watch the video. It is a really well-made video. He does play through all of the maps in the video. It's not a super long video either, just because those maps are very short. So the video is about 20 minutes, and you can always scrub through the parts where he's not narrating if you really want to. But watch the video. He explains it better than I am able to here. I'm kind of just regurgitating the information offhand as best as I can remember it. So, yes, that's it. Someone take over talking. I won't stop talking if I'm just left to my own devices.
No, I guess
so you just gotta take over.
Actually just covers it. So, 2 more segments left. If you guys still have time to go through the Triforce trivia,
let's do it.
Nate,
Heck yeah!
I'm going to take last place again, so let's do it.
Nice.
All right.
I love the winning spirit.
Well, as I was, ever since I got corrected on my own podcast by a guest on the ending of Ocarina of Time, and the fact that I forgot that ending tells me that my knowledge of Zelda is no longer in my brain. Must be from all those heavy days of drinking that I apparently do every single day.
That must be it.
Must be it. It had everything to do with having 3 kids, getting older, and just there's just a lot more going on in my brain these days now than just Zelda like back in the day. It literally was all Zelda all the time at one point.
So everyone watching, you can play along with us. You can go to kahoot.it or click the link that I am going to be putting in the chat. You can play on your phone, a tablet, your shoe, your fridge, if you have that one that from that they had Skyrim on from E3.
That's it. Skyrim fridge.
Yeah, you guys remember it? So you can play basically on anything. You can download the app on the phone or a tablet, or you can just use the web browser. And you don't have to log in or anything. You just click the link, and there you go. There's 10 questions
There you go.
from throughout the Zelda series.
Oh, you didn't provide the link yet, did you?
No,
Throw
not
us
yet.
the link, Jesse.
I can't do 2
Why don't you put
things
it in
at
our
once.
Discord chat?
I can't do
Put it in the Discord first, so Nate and I can get in here.
Listen, I
And,
can either move the mouse or talk. I can't do both.
I'm doing
drawing
both
circles while talking right now. Oh, they're pretty bad. So to be honest.
Maybe I've just learned to be good at multitasking with this stuff because like when you're streaming, I'm sure Nate knows this. Like when you're streaming while like playing a game, especially having to multitask, reading the chat, making sure your computer is not exploding, and also play the game competently.
People wonder why I don't do game streams a lot. That's I can't.
And also talking while doing it all. Yeah, it's a whole bunch.
And yet,
that's why people are like, oh, you just hit live, you just hit go live, and then you're good. It's like no, no.
My first 100 hours of Tears of the Kingdom is probably all going to be live streamed, and I'm excited and also nervous. How if I'm sucking and I'm silent, I just pray it's entertaining.
I will always, or I said outright that when Tears of the Kingdom releases, I will for like a week straight. I'll stream the game every day. I have no hesitation.
Yeah, I'm doing. I'm doing. I think because here's the stupid thing. It comes out. What is it? Mother's Day weekend, which sucks.
Oh, is that?
Yeah. So I'm trying to like convince my mom that hey, let's just do something the weekend before or the weekend after. Because bottom line is, I'm trying to find. Hey, you can take the kids on Mother's Day if you want. I'm cool with that. Take your grandkids because I'm doing like literally 12-hour streams every day. Because Zelda comes out once every 6 years apparently. Now.
Oh, Nate,
so
I was gonna like, yeah, there you are. Okay, never mind.
I want my right avatar.
I was just trying to make sure that you didn't get.
Do you want to build a snowman?
We can change our little avatar. So there's no burger one. Is there? There is a burger one. Okay, I'm gonna scoop that up. There we go.
So here's the important thing, everyone. If you're playing with us, you do not watch the stream and play along and wait until you can read it on our screen or on our live stream or us to say it. You have to play it on your phone or whatever and then play along like that. Otherwise, you'll be a few seconds behind and you'll lose. So don't pay attention to our screen, but pay attention to your own screen.
Yes.
And also, I'm sad to see that Bree's not playing.
She got the Kargarok impression, and then she said, "That's all I need." She peaced out, I guess.
Yeah, that's all I need. We can have up to 3 more people.
That's all I need. That's hilarious.
Mm-hmm. There we go. I will say as well, Nate, about your hiccup there with Zelda knowledge on your stream. At least when you got it wrong, and you got called out for it, you ended up being like, "I was wrong. Sorry."
Well, it took a long time.
Because so many people.
It took a long time.
But you did it.
I was so convinced I was right. It was insane.
All right,
but when you did, like you wouldn't believe the amount of people who just won't admit when they're wrong about something. Well, I'm sure you would believe actually, because you live on planet Earth.
If anyone wants to get them, otherwise we'll continue without you. You can use a browser on your phone, on a tablet, your shoe, your computer. You don't need to download the app. You can just get on the browser.
Yeah,
and if you win, Daniel gives you a hug.
I do not.
All right. 3,
no hugs from me.
1, and we are starting. Actually, let me.
All right.
My nose keeps itching. Where are you guys at?
I still just see Nintendo Prime. My little snowman.
It doesn't have me starting.
Yep, I see.
Where's that?
There's what, 8 of us?
Yeah, there's not a 10th one. All right, so we are starting now.
All right.
Some of these questions may be difficult. Some of them may...
Someone hit up Zelda Wiki.
Make you cry.
I will say Zelda Wiki's...
That's the best way to come up with questions. Randomizer Zelda Wiki.
Triforce Trivia 180. 3,
2,
uno. Which year did Spirit Tracks release? 2008, 2009, 2010, Daniel's birthday.
Pretty sure I know this one.
My one birthday.
Which year did Spirit Tracks
If I got this wrong,
release?
I'm going to be very disappointed if I got this wrong.
Oh yeah. Okay. Good stuff. I got it. Still got it.
Am I number one? Wait, no. That's just my answer streak. Never mind.
Captain Bergerson, Nintendo Prime, Icona
Damn
Tofu.
it.
Who's Icona Tofu? Sam
I don't know, but I
7,
love that name.
Visby.
You're such a fast clicker.
Oh, I think Nate's gonna get this next one.
All right.
You're probably wrong.
You got this one. You got
It's
this
in my
one.
top 5 favorite Zelda games. I got that release date.
All right, everyone, look at
It's
your
a good
phones. Remember, don't pay attention to us. Look at your own phones.
Yeah, ignore me. Definitely ignore me.
All right, next question.
Answer's 5.
How many dungeons does Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link have?
I swear I'm going to get
6,
this
7,
wrong.
8, 10.
This is going to piss me off.
I put this in here.
Also,
just for
Rowan
you.
in the chat is.
I'm pretty sure I got it
too.
wrong. 99% sure I got it wrong.
Oh, you know what? I actually also got it. What was the right answer? I
7.
don't know. It's only 7? I thought there was 7 and then the Great Palace.
Yeah.
So what am I misremembering?
No, the Great Palace was the 7th one.
That is the 7th. Ah, shoot. Well, I goofed. I will have known this answer for sure if I had covered the dungeon design of this game already.
I
But
was literally
that's
hovering
on
over
the
7, and I was like, but I think there's an extra one. I do this to myself.
oops. All right.
Jacob came up to 3rd place. Everyone else's points stayed the same.
Okay. All
Next
right.
question. 3 of 10. The Postman does not appear in which Zelda game? Oracle of Ages, Oracle of Seasons, Phantom Hourglass, Spirit Tracks.
I got really lucky with this one. Or the timing of this question is very lucky because I'm currently playing through the Oracle games. So
I'm gonna see. I started hot. Now I'm gonna be in last place. I'm not gonna get a single one correct.
One person chose Oracle of Ages, one person chose Oracle of Seasons, 4 chose Phantom Hourglass, 2 chose Spirit Tracks.
the thing is, he is in Phantom Hourglass. It's not the same
Daniel, you're
Postman.
the only
Like,
one that got it right.
yeah, because I'm playing the Oracle games. That's just how I knew.
Literally
original
played-
version-
That's the only reason I knew it. Like, because I'm currently playing Seasons.
The original
And
version
I
of
just
that
finished
question.
Ages.
Did you get the King?
What?
Am I still in second place?
No one else got it right.
Yeah, because I'm the only one that got it right.
So
So no one changed.
Because I knew Spirit Tracks. Yes.
some of these questions
Hold
do
on.
get into more of the development side of stuff.
Right.
Like it's not just in-game lore or whatever. It's
Right.
Yeah.
I like that in Spirit Tracks, the Postman just gives you the letters because I hate it in Phantom Hourglass how he just like, all right, hey, you got some mail, and he just reads it out to you. It's like, dude,
See, the
that
alternative
should be illegal.
the alternative version of this question I felt would have been very controversial because it was how many of these how many games does the Running Man appear in? And when you're looking at the different wikis and stuff, it calls the shady guy, the guy from A Link to the Past, the Running Man.
I see. I think his name in game, or
They
he's
call
not
him
given a name
the
in
Shady
game,
Guy
but in Link
or
Between
something.
Worlds, he's called. In A Link Between Worlds, he's called Shady Guy.
Yeah. So I thought that would be.
But
a
it's
bit
technically not the
controversial.
same character. But yeah, that's fair. This is good.
All right. Next question.
All right.
Now, some of these questions, to give everyone a heads up, to get it correct, think of the difference between a producer and a director.
Okay.
I'm already gonna get this wrong.
All right.
4 of 10. 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗏 is the director of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, which Zelda game was his first. His first Zelda game that he worked on. Breath of the Wild, Skyward Sword, Minish Cap, Oracle of Ages and
Wait.
Seasons.
That he worked on or was director of?
That he was. Which game was his first that he worked on? Which Zelda game? Not that he directed. Which But I think
He could have been.
I think he directed it, so it's. It does. I don't think it really matters.
I didn't know if he directed it, but I do know which games he worked on, which is all of these.
Yeah, I thought it was Minish Cap. Yeah, Nate, what's up?
Nothing.
Did you?
See, that's why I asked, because I know he directed Minish Cap, and I know he worked on the Oracle games, but I couldn't remember if he directed the Oracle games. Hence my asking for clarification, because that would have changed the answer. But
he
worked on all of those options.
Before I looked it up, I thought, because the Oracle games were the first Capcom Zelda games, I thought it was the guy from Capcom that blackmailed Miyamoto. I thought he was the director.
Oh.
And then I thought Fujibayashi didn't become a director until Minish Cap. But yeah, I was wrong. Next question.
Okay.
Wait, what? Nate?
I can't get anything but release years correct over here. So.
Oh.
There's gonna be some of those. Don't
I
worry.
believe in you.
I
believe in you.
I think I know the release year of every Zelda game.
𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗃 and Cap Bergerson, I guess, were the only ones that got that right. I don't think Daniel's going to get these next ones right, though, so don't worry. You all have a fighting chance.
Yeah, no.
All right.
5 of 10. How many owl statues are in Majora's Mask?
Damn
8,
it!
9, 10, 11.
Wait.
Owl statues.
Oh, what? I'm using the wrong mouse.
An owl is a bird, Daniel.
Yes.
I think...
I want to say, I'm going to try and rattle them off. Clocktown, Milk Road, Woodfall, Southern Swamp, Mountain Village, Snowhead, Icana Canyon, Stone Tower, Great Bay Coast, and Zora Cape.
One person said 8, 4 people said 9, 3 people said 10, 0 people said 11. And the correct answer is 10.
Clocktown and Milk Road, and then 2 in each sub area is the answer.
All right, this next one, very similar.
I know things.
Very similar.
You said he wasn't going to get this. He's destroying me.
Don't worry. He's 6 of 10.
Lose, don't worry.
How many owl statues containing sky characters are located in Twilight Princess? 5, 6, 7, 8.
I just did this.
He just did this.
But no, I actually don't remember. I don't remember correctly. Okay, I got it.
Incorrect.
I was like, pretty sure.
What a surprise. What a surprise. Incorrect. Like every other answer.
2 said 5, 4 said 6, 2 said 7, 0 said 8. The correct answer was 6.
I had some hesitation.
Now, this was a bit confusing.
I almost said 7 because the one in Kakariko's Sanctuary Basement does not have a sky character.
You're going to get him. You're not getting him.
No, you just... I think it's literally... It's the next one, I believe.
He's an encyclopedia.
All right.
So this containing sky characters, I had to put that in quotes because whenever I was counting them, there are like 3 or 4 other owl statues that you can't move.
Yeah.
No, Daniel wrote the entire Zelda Wiki. So.
Well, I don't know if you knew this. He's best friends with Miyamoto. I mean, not anymore since that dinner incident.
Not anymore.
But
Miyamoto probably couldn't even answer these questions.
No.
That's true.
Miyamoto gave up on.
He might have
got
the release.
on the brain.
He would have got the release year right. I bet he would have got that one.
No, Miyamoto gave up on life when Nintendo told him that he couldn't ride his motorcycle.
That was a layup, and that's all I can make is layups.
You'll get these next ones. Don't worry.
I'm sorry.
I'm
sorry, guys.
It's like who has the courage? Triforce piece. I got that one.
Daniel's in 5th place. Sam's in 4th. Thisby, 3rd. Icona Tofu, 2nd. Capt Bergerson, whoever that loser is.
I'm literally about to finish in last place, so let's go.
7 of 10.
Let's go.
Who does Link help Fledge carry barrels for? Who does Link help Fledge carry barrels for? Groose, Pippet, Alan, Hylian. Remember,
I'm just gonna start guessing like the same A, B, C, D. I'm just gonna start guessing the same one every time.
Fledge.
You'll be right eventually.
Fledge asks Link to help him.
Nope.
The thing is, too, is that this was trimmed out of or made optional in the HD version as well. that segment.
This is the one you were so thought you were going to get him with.
No, it's the director one. There's two more director ones.
But he's got
right.
have you even got one wrong yet?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I got one wrong. I got one wrong.
Right.
I think it was like the second question.
Next question.
One out of 10. Congrats.
8 of 10. What was the last Zelda game Miyamoto directed? Legend of Zelda NES, A Link to the Past SNES, Ocarina of Time N64, Skyward Sword Wii.
Oh, wait, no.
The last Zelda game he directed.
No.
Oh, I actually got this wrong.
No one got it right. The only Zelda game he directed was the first one.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yes, I knew that. I actually knew that, and I didn't. I clicked.
No, you're right. Because then he became producer.
Mm-hmm.
He went on to producer.
Yeah, he was executive producer until Majora's Mask, and then he let.
That makes me mad.
Discover.
I knew the answer to, and I clicked too quick.
All right.
I didn't read the full question.
Next question is the same, but with Aonuma. So.
All right.
Great.
I don't think anyone got it right though.
Bomb this one too. Let's go. Bomb this one too.
Hold on 1 second. Never mind. I thought I was gonna have to get the dog out. Okay.
I already know which one I'm going to click on, and it's probably wrong.
9 of 10. What was the last Zelda game Aonuma directed? Majora's Mask, Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, A Link Between Worlds.
Feel really. Because I thought he went on to become producer pretty early on. Yeah, I got it wrong.
One person said
There you go.
Majora's Mask. 2 people said Wind Waker. 6 people said Twilight Princess. The correct answer was Twilight Princess.
All right. I thought he had already moved from director to producer by that point.
You guys can take my Zelda fan card away anytime. I'm cool.
All right, next question.
I already gave her my Zelda expert card. Now just the fandom
10 of
card.
10.
Just
What
go.
color is Kolokto's weak spot / core? Green, red, blue, purple.
I don't even remember who Koloktos is.
He's
It's the boss of the
Cistern.
ancient turn.
He has a big core weak spot.
Hey, my guessing B every time finally came through.
There you go. There you go.
I might not be in last place.
The
Plus,
confusing part of it is that the colors didn't match up to the colors of the options, like the buttons. Like the word red is on the blue button, so that can mess with your brain.
Nate, if you want to, I have an older, easier trivia that's just ready to go.
Sure.
Okay.
I'll probably bomb this one too.
All right. Get ready, kids.
All right.
I'll be on this one too. Get ready, children.
I'm ready.
Okay, so
what was the second question on that one again that I got wrong?
I don't remember.
Oh, I guess I could scrub back to the stream, couldn't I? I have the stream here.
See, and this is why he wins, because he gets bothered by getting them wrong, and he goes back just to see what it was.
Yes.
See, I don't even care. I got all of them wrong, and I'm like, yeah, I ain't got room in my brain to worry about this stuff anymore.
Yeah, it's not showing me if you got.
Someone asked me the other day how many champions there were in Breath of the Wild, and I got it wrong. So it's my favorite game of all time.
Well, see, that's a bit of a question, because a lot of people wrongfully don't count Link as one of the champions.
All right, so
but he is. Oh, it was how many dungeons were in Zelda 2? That was the one I got wrong.
I said 3. That's how wrong I was.
You said 3?
Nate, I'll graciously let you pick. Okay.
Wait. Gracious, let me pick what?
Yeah,
I have no idea.
The trivia stuff. So we have Wind Waker trivia, Gorons of Breath of the Wild. That was a trivia that we made for Joe the last time he came on. Sheikah quiz. Daniel lost in Smash when I challenged Daniel and I didn't win. The next one, Down with Daniel. It's raining tacos.
These feel targeted.
Raining tacos.
Hylian Gamescast, 154, 155, Twilight Princess trivia. That was last week. Okay, so We can do all about
Whatever.
Wind Waker, all about Sheikah, all about Gorons.
Let's go Wind Waker because none of the rest I
right.
know anything. I can't even tell you all the games Gorons are in.
I may be at an advantage here because I think I've done all of these on the show.
You
here.
have, but I don't think you'll remember that because it was like a year ago.
You don't think I will?
I'll hope,
You don't think I will?
I'm sitting there like, what's the last Zelda game I played besides Breath of the Wild? The Wind Waker. Well, I'll probably still get it wrong.
All right, everyone else.
Questions
ready.
about the HD version or the original, or both, or will it not matter?
Or I think it's gonna not matter, or it'll specify if it's version specific. I assume.
Watch, I'm gonna get all these wrong. Is there a link to it? I don't have a link.
Yeah, I just posted it in Discord, and
There
I'm
it
now
is.
going to post it in the live chat.
2 Kahoots for the price of 1.
Let's go. I need a better hat. Maybe that's the thing. I need.
You
a
may have
better
not
hat.
even done this one, Daniel, because there was one that we did with. I think it's just Geek and Tubes.
Oh,
I posted it in the chat, everyone. And
Right.
the code to get in, kahoot.it 984418. 984418.
So I tried doing these for my own stream, and then I realized I have too many people that watch. I need one that does more than 10. And
oh yeah. Sometimes it lets you anyways though.
Yeah,
Because
like it'll tell us that we can only have like 10 people, but then like once
Mhm.
there was like 20 people that joined.
So
Well,
last week when I had made the quiz or the Kahoot, and then we played it on stream, I wasn't paying attention to it, but then I got an email from Kahoot after the fact, and they were like, "You exceeded your player limit. You actually had, like 2 more players than you were supposed to. Why don't you pay for a premium plan?" And I'm like,
is
"Well,
Kahoot's
now I know. Now I know that I can just allow it to happen." And you're not going to stop it, so why would I pay for the premium plan?
Yeah, we have
Yeah.
9 people,
What is
so
it?
it's one more than last time. I guess I'll go ahead
plan
and
which
press
is
start.
there's a teacher plan, a school plan, and a higher education plan. That's all dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
I think it
teachers
could
at
be fun
schools. All right, question 1, Wind Waker trivia.
All right.
3,
Just want to make sure I don't miss it.
dos, uno, quiz.
All right.
What was the last Zelda game with the magic bar? I thought this was
The
all about
Wind
Wind
Waker.
Waker.
Yeah, what are you doing right now?
Yeah.
Oh.
Wait.
That's not.
The last Zelda game that had one in it?
Yeah, magic bar.
Well, see, this is almost a trick question because one of the answers
I don't
could
even
be
think
interpreted.
I didn't click anything. I was prepared for Wind Waker questions, and now I just
The answer was Wind Waker.
was the answer. So,
All right, hold on. We'll see where this goes.
we'll see how this goes. I
Yeah.
will say, A Link Between Worlds has the purple stamina bar, which could be
Question
seen as a
2.
magic meter, but it's not.
Which is the first dungeon in Link's Awakening? Yeah, this is not Wind Waker.
This is
Daniel's
not-
basement, Bottle Grotto, Key Cavern, Tail Cave.
I'm just done. This is just done. Just
Hey,
We're gonna drive him off.
apparently, like I lied to myself on this. Why did I title it
Yeah.
Wind Waker?
hey, at least I knew that one. I got that one.
There you
right.
go.
All right,
It's a great game, actually.
question.
I didn't even play Link's Awakening on Switch, so I don't even know how I still remember.
It's a great game. Great game.
I owned it.
The Switch version is perfect. It's great.
I mean, there's a reason they're not making the next. Yeah.
I mean, the performance issues never bothered me. I don't know.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Well, I got one.
Next question.
You got one in the books.
3 of 10. In Wind Waker, why was Tingle imprisoned? He is Tingle,
In-
stealing, arguing,
I think you
annoyance.
felt that.
Imprisoned,
Imprisoned.
you-
as opposed to imprisoned.
I think he's. Yes.
Just a little typo.
See,
there.
if it's an actual Wind Waker question, I got it.
All right.
There you go.
I'm sorry.
Especially if it's a Tingle question.
Well, yeah. that might be the one thing I actually know a lot about is Tingle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
hell
surprised
yeah.
someone didn't pick He's Tingle. Like he's just they threw him in jail because
They're like, that guy's single. Just throw him in jail.
oh Nintendo, you're back on the block. I said
Yeah,
Nintendo,
maybe.
right? Jeez.
Top 5.
All right, next question.
I have this lovely
4 of
Tingle
10.
poster here.
Who is the Kabloom guy in Wind Waker? Zunari, Daniel, Salvatore, Karlov.
I just guessed. I'm probably.
Well, it's not Daniel.
Well,
He goes, please.
I didn't guess Daniel. I guess someone who I think is a character in the game. I don't know. Nope, got it wrong.
But how did you phrase it? Kaboom guy? Because he doesn't say kaboom.
No,
he says
kabloom.
splish, and he goes
Kabloom.
boom.
Kabloom.
He doesn't say kabloom. He says baboom.
I'll fight you.
Boom. And he says splish.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say that I'm getting all these wrong because he's spelling everything.
Zunari's the
That's it.
he's the one that does the trading sequence thing, and then Karlov, I don't know who that is.
I knew who it was. I didn't know his name. Like I know what we're talking about. I just don't know who memorizes the name of these characters.
Splish.
All right, 5 of 10. Why is Salvatore's barrel shoot minigame located? Or where is Salvatore's barrel shoot minigame located? Daniel's Basement, Windfall Island, Great Fish Isle, Spectacle Isle.
This is also a trick question because he has 2 mini games.
I'm wrong.
But the barrel shoot mini game versus the battleship one.
2 people got it right. Spectacle Isle.
Yep.
Mhm.
Well,
No,
this is a lot of
at least
and I'm getting it.
you don't have to win, Nate. You just have to make sure Daniel doesn't.
Daniel's gonna win.
6 of 10. In the original Wind Waker, how many Triforce shards must Link collect? 3, 5,
Oh, yeah, I
7,
got this
8.
one.
All right, high five.
If I didn't get this one, I will be very disappointed.
I'm going to say that it's the same amount in the HD version. They just remove the charts from some of the locations.
I removed your charts. Did you get it?
But it's the same amount.
You're wrong?
I was so confident.
Oh. All right, next
It's
question.
8, just like the original Legend of Zelda.
What was it? Well, how many were there?
8.
8, just like the original Legend of Zelda on NES.
Next question.
Just
7 of 10.
Shards.
In Wind Waker, where does Link find the Master Sword? Temple of Time, Korok Forest, Hyrule Castle, Daniel's Kitchen.
It's definitely the last one. It's in my kitchen.
I probably got this wrong too.
Actually, I've got it. It's right behind me there.
If I get this wrong, I'm
Daniel's
very
office.
disappointed. Oh.
Hyrule
How do I
Castle.
move? There's people playing who haven't played the Wind Waker if they don't know that. That's the easy one. That was
That's
a
an
layup.
easy one for sure.
Like it's one of the most memorable parts of the game.
It's a great part of the game. I love
See,
that.
I got Ocarina of Time because
You get to fight
Ocarina
a
of
bunch
Time. Or yeah, Temple of Time because Ocarina of Time. Hyrule Castle because of Wind Waker. Korok Forest because Breath of the Wild. And Daniel's Kitchen because I just imagine it's kind of like heaven up there. You never let me out of the basement, so I just imagine how glorious the rest of the house is.
I already feel it just throws
8 of 10.
pickle.
Where does Link obtain the power bracelets? He doesn't. Forsaken Fortress, Fire Mountain, Earth Temple. Power bracelets.
Yep.
That's
Probably
For
wrong.
strong, heavy lifting. I want to play Wind Waker. It's such a great game.
oh,
It's such a great
everyone was
game.
evenly split on this. Fire Mountain was the answer.
It is. It is.
Daniel and 𝗙SBY were the only ones to get it right. 9 of 10. In
I
Wind
said he
Waker,
doesn't.
who is the new sage of the Wind Temple? The new sage of the Wind Temple. Fado, Medley, Loruto, Makar.
Makar. Why do you say it like that? It's
Oh,
just you in full Italian. It's Makar.
Well, it's me and Chris Pratt.
I'm just done. I'm done.
Final question.
One more question. One more.
10 of 10. In Wind Waker, how many shields does Link obtain? 1, 2, 3 bananas.
This bananas for sure. But you know what I always found weird about the sage thing in Wind Waker is that Medley, the bird lady, is the earth sage, and Makar, the plant guy, is the wind sage. It doesn't make sense.
Awesome.
It should be the other way.
This
How
be
are those
third,
eight neighbors of the quizzes
Icona
that I will
second.
ever vote?
and someone no one cares about in first.
I see.
I will never podium in any of these quizzes. It's just the way it is.
Oh, you didn't have it on screen this time,
I appreciate
Jesse.
you giving me
Oh, I
two
didn't.
cracks at.
Yeah, you
No.
did not have
Oh,
it on
you
screen.
didn't? Oh, then I guess this didn't happen.
It never happened.
Would
It
you
never
like to-
happened.
Would you like to
You can
play
watch
one
again.
more? I'm having fun. Do you guys want to play one more?
I think you're pushing Nate's limits.
I will play all day until I do not podium every single quiz you have.
All right.
All right.
Is he
I'm
like-
gonna look through the questions to make sure.
Which one of these was a baby quiz? It's like, right, which one just says who has the Triforce? Which one just says...
Which Triforce?
I don't even know.
Which piece?
What's the name of the 4th Zelda game? It's like just easy
Some good ones. Some good ones.
for basic trivia. How many mainline Zelda games exist? And then people start debating.
Well, mainline is
Oh wait,
the key
I
word
think this
there.
one.
And then do you count Tears of the Kingdom since it's not out yet?
I think this one had some controversy. Hold on.
Oh yeah. Is
Ooh.
it one of the quizzes where I debated you about whether the answer was actually the right answer?
I don't remember.
Actually, that's happened a few times.
I don't remember.
That's happened a few times. Where the answer came up, I clicked it, it came up wrong, and I said, "No, Jesse, this was right. Your quiz was wrong."
Yeah,
And then I proved it.
That sounds like Daniel. That sounds like
That was actually so. I was on, and I'm going to be again on
Is it the,
Triforce Trends
Exactly
channel, where
what
he's doing
happened.
a Jeopardy style show with different YouTube like Zelda creators. And I won the round I was on. I was very pleased about that. It was me and HG on a team. And one of the questions was like a silhouette, and it was like, whose silhouette is this? And I said, it's Zelda in Age of Calamity. And then the correct answer was Zelda in Breath of the Wild. And I said, no. This concept art is specifically the key art from Age of Calamity, not Breath of the Wild. Although it is technically could be considered the same character.
okay, this
But
one's
it
good.
is. He gave me the points in the end. He's like, okay, yeah. All right.
This one's good.
It's the artwork on like literally the character select screen of Age of Calamity.
This one's mostly Twilight Princess and Ocarina.
All right.
I don't
All right, I'm ready.
And this will be the final one. And then we can.
All right.
We'll do. Everyone, get your questions ready
Okay.
to have
So
us.
because it's Twilight Princess and Ocarina, somebody better knock Daniel off the podium, please. These are popular games. Somebody, because it's not going to be me.
Somebody.
Somebody.
Maybe.
Knock him off, man.
We'll
Here,
see.
I need to do my avatar. Let's go with the big brain. That's what we need. Big brain.
You need big brain.
Big
It's
brain
true.
with an eye patch.
Yes.
There we go.
There
Which
we
one
go.
did I pick last time?
What I really need is the ability to instant Google.
Yeah.
Instant Google. You need smart glasses that will show you the answer, like on the lens. As you're... Have Alexa on in the next room with Jesse reading the question out, and
Don't even know what the question is. Let's go.
There we go. We have Gex, Quest, Jacob, Iconotofu, Thisbe, Sam7. He who must not be named.
Alexa, be
Nintendo
quiet.
Prime.
No one asked you.
Daddy Natsu.
You can't even say the word, or it's going to say
oh my gosh!
All right, we have 8
Oh,
people.
no.
We had 9 last time. Come on.
All right,
All right, 3, 2, cucumber.
cucumbers are kind of shaped like a one.
All right,
Cucumber.
and we're going. All right,
Gumba.
All right, here we go.
Majora's Mask.
100% coming up.
Did you say Majora's Mask? I thought you said Ocarina of Time and Twilight Princess was the focus here.
Majora's Mask was released in what year?
I thought you
Daniel's birthday,
said
1999, 2000, 1998.
See, if we just have release years, I'm going to get all of them. I'm good with that. Am I first? Did I beat Daniel?
this is
Like
the
a
second
clicker?
question we've done now that has my
Ooh.
birthday as one of.
Daniel's, he beat you by like
Oh my, that's such.
I
6.
just clicked faster.
It's like
Kahoot?
7 points.
That was my one
I just
chance to
clicked
get this
past.
higher. My one chance.
So it was 2 years after.
Question 2.
2 years after Ocarina of
It
Time.
was me.
Ocarina of Time, how many know-it-all brothers are there? None. 𝗙scath ate them all. 2, 3, 4.
Total guess. I have no idea.
That's not the first one. Most people guessed 3 and got it correct.
3 is correct.
That was not me. Most
Nate
people
did
is
not
me.
guess it correctly.
No,
All right, next question. But you're still in third.
I don't
You're on
remember
the
that order.
podium. Look at it. You're right there. Thing's trying to reach for you.
She's trying. At least
Yeah,
you got it on screen this time.
A Link Between Worlds released when?
Oh shit!
The Year of the Burger, 2013, 2014, 2012.
Shit, this is the one I don't know.
Yeah, I am a little shaky on this one. Yeah, I actually got it
I
wrong.
got it.
Was it
Thank God.
2013
It's the
then?
one thing I'm good at. And I almost didn't get it.
Someone guessed The Year of the Burger.
That's a good year.
Oh, it took me too
Okay,
long.
what was it? Was it 2013?
Fell off the podium, but that's okay.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. That seems right to me.
Yeah, I hit 2014. I was
Hey,
between
I
those
thought
two.
you got that right. Did you not get that one right, then, Nate?
I did, but everyone else, I got it right like at the end. Everyone else got it right.
Okay. All right, next
Because
question.
I was debating too much. I should have just went my
Ocarina of
gut.
Time. Who becomes the Sage of the Shadow Temple? Geek, Sheik, 𝗵𝗃, 𝗍𝗵𝗃.
I have no idea.
The Shadow Temple
Geek.
Sage. Right?
I have no idea. Hey!
What? Hey!
I can guess. I can guess.
Surely.
Yes.
Surely.
I'm thinking these other ones don't make sense, so I'm just gonna go with it. I don't actually know.
Wait, what did you put, Daniel?
𝗵𝗃. 𝗵𝗃's the sage of the Shadow Temple.
Jacob says 𝗵𝗃 was
Got it.
Sheik. No,
Yeah.
Zelda was Sheik.
Well, here's what I like.
Zelda was.
Capped is not on top, and I'm liking this. This is the way it should be.
Am I
Well, we
not?
got Big Daddy
Oh,
Natsu up
Daddy
there.
Natsu?
Big Daddy Natsu.
Oh, no.
Hey, I made it to 4th. I'm happy at the moment. I
Alright.
was quick on the trigger that time.
Next question.
All right, let's go.
5 of 10.
I-
Wind Waker. Hero's bow is found in which dungeon? Daniel's Basement, Earth Temple, Forbidden Woods, Tower of the Goods.
That's where
Sure.
the goods are.
Nope, it was the other one. Damn it. I knew it was between 2 of them, and I guessed the wrong one.
Wasn't this Twilight Princess and Ocarina of Time focused quiz?
Well, Twilight Princess
Now
is Wind
we've
Waker
got-
too, so it just carries over.
You know,
All right.
I'm
Alright.
gonna make a Zelda quiz for this show one time, and there just won't even be a Zelda question in it.
It's like, how many French fries can I eat today?
It'll all be Tingle's Rosy Rupee Land questions.
Oh, I had one. Remember, I did have a Tingle. I did have a Tingle quiz.
Oh, baby.
Oh no!
Oh, baby.
Next question. 6 of
A
10.
long time,
Twilight
especially if it was the
Princess,
same-
what is the 7th hidden skill?
Oh
The
my
Choo Choo
god!
Dance, Mortal Draw, Great Spin, Jump Strike.
The 7th is the final one, then.
Ah,
That helps people.
no,
It's the,
no, it
it's the
doesn't.
very last one. It's the very last one.
It's the Tube
Hey.
Tube Dance.
I'm so glad that my life isn't on the line on these quizzes, man. Off the podium. That's
The pumpkin man is gonna
Next question.
is holding me to gunpoint
Twilight
right now.
Princess, what is the mayor's name? Daniel, Mo, Bo, Ko.
oh my god! No, I actually don't know. I just took a guess. It's
Mo,
probably
Bo,
wrong.
Ko.
Wait. It's Mo, isn't it?
Bo.
It's
Is it Mo?
It's Bo.
It's Bo.
Bo.
See, I was gonna be wrong either way.
Bobo. Ilya's
Yeah.
dad, Bo. He's
Next
the sumo
question.
man.
This is a checks quest.
Twilight
God
Princess,
damn it!
which item restores Ilya's memory? Picture of Daniel, horse call, invoice, letter.
It's the picture of Daniel for sure. That's the
What?
one.
Oh, I
Restores
remember. I remember
Ilias.
this section. I don't know what does it. I remember this part of the game though.
Yeah, I don't know what the
Yeah.
letter is. The invoice goes
Just-
to the
Just throw me in the
doctor.
trash. Throw me in the trash.
The letter Renato gives you to bring to Telma.
Yeah, how many people are
and then
playing?
9 or 8. Next question.
Cool. So I'm not last.
Who is the boss of the 4th dungeon in Skyward Sword? Daniel's kitty, Koloktos, Scaldara, Tentalis. Daniel's
I
kitty.
don't know. I just need to start going C all the way down every answer.
I had to stop doing that because for a while I did put C as most of my answers. Someone said Daniel.
See, when I was making the quiz for last week, I like went through to see like how many answers are A, how many answers are B, how many answers are C, and
Next question.
I changed them around to
Twilight Princess, what is the name of Lantern Oil Bird?
Oh God.
Oh
Daniel,
yeah.
Trill, Plum, Koro.
I didn't know this one. Watch, I'm totally wrong. Pretty sure I know this one.
Well,
Hey,
Plum
I
is
knew
a
that one.
different bird.
Did
And then
not
Koro's
get into
the guy,
but I did know.
the big hair man.
Big Hair Man.
Big hair man.
In 3, it's Sam.
I was one off of the podium. I was there. I was on the edge.
Do you want another chance?
Koro.
I did. I'll take all the chances. I'll keep doing these quizzes all the way to bedtime.
Do you have one?
Well, it's 1:20, so we should probably get to the mailbag actually.
All right.
I'm just sitting like, hey, I'll do these
How
all day.
about this, Nate? Next week, if you want to come back on the podcast, you can make your own quiz. And then I'll beat Daniel for you.
Yeah, that's what'll happen.
Yeah, that's what'll happen. Dude, in order to beat Daniel, I'd have to come up with the most obscure things possible, and then nobody's going to win. It's just going to be dumb luck guesses.
Mm.
When Link enters X Temple, which direction does his hair blow?
Well, it depends on which game we're talking about. I could probably answer that.
See?
And the answer is usually there is no wind physics in this game.
All right,
His hair
everyone.
does not have physics in this
It'd be a
game.
game that has wind physics, obviously.
We're going to do
Right.
3 or 4 questions. It's one for each of us, and then if there's a really good one, we'll do a 4th question.
All right.
So,
Do we have any in the Discord even?
well, that's I don't know.
So
But if you're in the chat and you have a question you want us to discuss, I have a couple of quick ones that people sent me on Instagram, really quick.
oh,
So, Amanda
sweet.
says, "Do you think Nintendo is going to bring back some big collectible like the Korok seeds?" I assume she means Tears of the
In
Kingdom.
Tears of the Kingdom, I assume.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think that's a safe assumption.
There'll be something. I mean, they've had collectibles in other games, bugs, and
My mind.
there'll be something.
Yeah. Yep.
Cool.
I assume so. Like they want like enough small engaging things to do.
There
to
might
keep
not
you
be
in the
900. But
Might
there-
not. Might be more.
Yeah, it could be 1,500
could be more.
at the sky now. So
All right. Just give a quick yes or no for this one, and then we can get to the actual 3 questions. Because this is a 3. Technically, it's 3 questions, but it's just yes or no. Do you think they will have more dungeons in Tears of the Kingdom?
Yes. More
oh,
than
so we're,
6.
we're counting the Breath of the Wild ones as dungeons. Okay, well then.
Well,
No, I think she means dungeons as in like
they
traditional
do.
dungeons.
Nintendo calls them dungeons. Those 4 things in Breath of the Wild.
I would count the Divine Beasts and like Hyrule Castle, and then like the DLC Monk Mass Koshia Final Trial as dungeons. So that'd be 6 dungeons in Breath of the Wild. The shrines I don't count as dungeons.
I don't count any of them because even those things are like the size of mini dungeons, not real dungeons.
The size of mini dungeons, but you get a heart container at the end after beating a boss. There is a map, and the champion abilities are basically dungeon items. So in my head, dungeons. Those are all the dungeon tropes that you need, minus the compass, but Skyward Sword didn't have a compass for its dungeons either. So I count it.
All right.
They're small, they kind of suck, but they're dungeons.
Will
Okay,
Tears
so here's
of
the yes or no. But if those count, then my answer is no, because there won't be 6.
Think more or less?
Less.
Less than 6, really? That's a small amount of dungeons for a Zelda game already. 6 is like not that much.
Yeah. Most of it's going to be open world stuff.
All right.
right.
I legit think they will have more. Probably like 8.
Watch
8 or
Dave's
9. No.
Daniel
Give me my dungeons. I have a YouTube channel to make.
Yeah, she just
get a container.
so she just corrected me. Said, "Dang, yeah, I meant traditional dungeons in general." So yeah, traditional dungeons is what she means.
Yeah. I
But Daniel
wholeheartedly
just said
believe so.
these are the dungeons that they have the
I think I count them. I don't count the shrines at all. Those are basically warp points and heart pieces. But the divine beasts, they're not good dungeons. I also don't like the Wind Temple in Wind Waker. I don't think it's a good dungeon, but it's still a dungeon whether I like it or not.
Daniel,
that's my standpoint.
you said it was almost 1:30. You had to hurry and go. So
Yes,
I was like,
I'm
okay,
sorry.
These questions will.
I've got about half an hour. That's
Okay. Well,
that's about it.
That's why I was like, these questions just
Sorry.
say yes or no, and then you get on a conversation.
my fault. It's my fault.
No.
Okay.
All right. Will Tears of the
No.
Kingdom have loft wings or anything from Skyward Sword since you go in the sky? Since you can go in the sky.
No.
Those
I'm
are
gonna say no to
fighting
Loft
words.
Wing. I would love them to, but I'm
Now
also
that I
gonna say
saw
no.
the flying platform thing, no.
Will we be able to go underwater?
Unless
Daniel,
it's an
yes or no?
No, this is it.
what if it were a?
Why don't you tell us about all the great
Amiibo?
improvements they made in Majora's Mask 3D?
How dare you say such a thing?
Fishing.
Will we be able to go underwater?
Yes.
No.
Ooh, those are more fighting words.
No, I like underwater. I just don't think they're gonna actually do it.
I think they were
I want
planning
to
to for Breath of the Wild, and then they didn't implement
think
it.
they're always
But there
gonna
are like underwater environments that they could take advantage of, and it's
Uh,
another way to make the world more.
And
The
then
whole world's surrounded by water. I don't think they're gonna.
the last yes or no one, Adam asks, what is it? Yeah. He wants to know if we think Tears of the Kingdom will be delayed again.
No. I think they're locked in.
Yes.
The reason, yeah, I think we are now at like the firm date. It's gonna happen.
Yes, it will be delayed.
Oh, will Nate and I agree on it? On any of these
I
questions?
think they'll get to February, and they'll go, "Oh shit!" Then it gets pushed to third quarter of 2023.
My heart can't take it.
I'm just
My
saying
little heart
this.
will give out.
I'm not saying this to be mean. I don't want it to happen. I'm saying it because Zelda games get delayed all the time. We still don't know a lot about this thing. The game's not done. They might get to February where they're ready to show it off, and a new one might be like, yeah, we ain't gonna be done. So
Yeah,
Now, I
Jacob in the
haven't played
chat.
game.
What?
I mean, I think the game's already done. But on the off chance it's not done and they're actually still working on it, then. And I also think there's a potential hardware delay. If they decide they're launching hardware in the holiday, they'll want Zelda next to it.
In the chat, Jacob says, no, they won't. They've released the release date. Zelda games have gotten exact release
They've got-
dates before, and
And been delayed.
Exact.
it's been
That was the
delayed.
day of the month.
I think
With
so.
Breath of the Wild's delays, they had only given us like a year, and never like a day or month even. Just they had said, yeah, 2015, it'll happen, and then we were left wondering, right? And so with both of its delays, we only had a year, but not a firm date.
I want to say
Tears of the Kingdom,
with
they
Twilight
didn't give us
Princess.
any firm anything, and then they officially delayed it already, and then now they've given us a firm date. So that's why I feel like confident about this. And let's keep in mind, they've done that before, but that was under different leadership as well.
Nate
Well,
mentioned what?
Oh, sorry. Every 3D Zelda game has been delayed.
Yes.
I was trying to look up if there was one that had a date that also got delayed, an exact date.
I think
But
a second ago, Nate, you mentioned that you thought hardware is going to be delayed, or they might delay Tears of the Kingdom for
they will
the hardware.
delay
or whatever.
Tears of
That's I can see that happening. I don't like it, but I can
Well,
see that.
that's-
But that's
That's
only
the
to me
scenario.
if they get to next year and they're looking at things and they go, "We're going to launch it this holiday." Then I
Well-
can see them going, "Okay, we're pushing Zelda for that."
Sam Wong in the chat actually asked that question. Do you think they will re-release it on the new console?
Maybe.
If it's the same year.
Or the new console is backwards compatible, and they'll say, "Oh, well, it runs better on the new console." I could see them just doing that.
If it's the same year, it won't be a re-release. It'll just be backwards compatibility. If it's like next, like let's say it comes out on the date it's supposed to, but then a new system's out, holiday 2024, absolutely. There'll be like a definitive 4K edition.
4K.
Well, if we're talking next gen, then yeah, DLSS 4K. They're still working with NVIDIA, so.
Okay, yeah, if it's DLSS 4K, then I can.
Oh,
If it's like native 4K, I'm like, no, that's not happening.
No.
That's not happening.
Series X don't even do native 4K. That's just Let's get on the same page. 4K is not even being doable by the current systems. So
yeah, or I could see them saying 1440p.
4K. It's all up.
I could seriously see Nintendo's next console being 1440p. They're not up to 4K.
They'll never use,
but better than 1080.
They're gonna put 4K on the box.
No, see, here's what I think.
Right.
I think Nintendo's games don't take nearly as much as the Switch may struggle to run certain games like Breath of the Wild or Xenoblade. Mario.
Kirby.
Yeah. Those games are
Kirby struggles too. They have the frame rates in the background.
Those games don't require nearly as much processing power as games like Uncharted and The Last of Us on PlayStation, or Halo and the new Gears or whatever on
and yet
Xbox.
They still have problems.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, if Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5 can't play 90% of their games, especially their AAA games, their console exclusives or whatever, if it doesn't play those games at a full 4K and 60 frames per second or whatever,
what it says for,
they could take the like a game that doesn't require as much processing power, like Breath of the Wild or Mario Odyssey or whatever, and with a weaker console get better performance. So something not quite as powerful as like a PlayStation 5, maybe somewhere between PlayStation 4 Pro and PlayStation 5, but that would be enough power to still run a lot of the Zelda, or not Zelda games, but a lot of the Nintendo games at close to or at 4K. And it wouldn't technically even be that powerful because it would still be on what everyone would still consider old last generation hardware. Because if it's around PlayStation 4 Pro power, then yeah.
It'd still be pretty current gen to do.
Yeah, it would be, but like the PlayStation 4 Pro came out a long time ago.
The technology to have that kind of power on a mobile platform is new. Like it would be like modern architecture to pull that up. Give you an example: the Steam Deck can't do it.
Well, it could be
Can't
like
do
the
PS4.
dock situation, where it.
I'm just mentioning because the Steam Deck's literally using technology from like last year, and it can't do PS4 Pro.
Yeah, like I think it'll be what everyone talks about, where you have the option to have like a more powerful dock or whatever. Like my laptop that I always use, I can plug it with the Thunderbolt or USB-C to an external graphics card and play games or render videos faster.
That's too modern. That's too expensive. Nintendo's cheap.
Nintendo's always upgraded their consoles though. Like the NES.
They upgrade the consoles. They're not going to sell like the reason people think that they'll do like an external GPU thing is because they had a patent for it at one point. Because they legitimately had a patent for an external compute unit that you could just plug in and increase the power. Yeah, Nintendo's got a lot of patents. They don't do anything with them. Like an external GPU enclosure itself would cost the same as a system.
What do you say about this then, Nate? Every single Nintendo home console and most of the but in a different way with the handheld. Every single one of the Nintendo home consoles, except for the Wii U, had a way to upgrade it to increase performance or add extra features. after originally buying the console. The Famicom had
even the
disk
Wii U
system.
had a deluxe version,
Yeah,
which had more internal storage.
Yeah, but the Famicom had the disk system.
That's not a way to upgrade one you own. That's buying a completely new system. Like if you have the 32 gigabyte, you could insert a SD card, but you could never increase the internal storage. You had to buy a new system to do that.
Yeah, but that's why I said besides the Wii U, because I was thinking, wait, no, even the Wii, we didn't have it.
Let me give you an example. Let me give you even what you're talking about. Oh, the Famicom of this. Okay, well, when I bought the gray box, the gray box Nintendo Entertainment System, there's no way to upgrade that without making modifications.
You can plug that thing into the bottom of it that lets you print out Mario onesies.
Is that an upgrade?
That's stitching accessory.
That's like adding the little Game Boy printer. Like that's not upgrading the hardware.
I know that was a joke, but with the Famicom, I'm talking about like the Famicom disk system and the expansion pack and disk drive for the N64 and the internet.
A lot of that
stuff,
and a lot of that stuff didn't make it here in the United States. Besides like the N64, being able to put the expansion pack in there. Like most of those system upgrades either required you buying an entirely new system, or you just couldn't do it without modifications. Like that's actually not common. It's more common. Actually, it's just not common at all. That was all Japan. Nintendo in Japan, they did a lot of crazy things with upgrades. But outside of Japan, you really couldn't upgrade any of Nintendo systems besides the N64, without buying a brand new system.
Yeah, Nintendo was weird in the N64 eras. Like you could use your Nintendo 64 with the disk system and that RAMnet thing to buy and sell stocks on the stock market. And it's like, who's using their N64 to buy
the GameCube that existed for a brief moment in Japan, but yet you're allowing that to exist, but then you won't use the format. You have to use mini discs because you just want to be different. The
mini disc thing really sucked about the GameCube because, like, on a strictly, like, the console itself was like a powerhouse for its time. It was like competitive.
Everyone was carrying
the other consoles
comparing
on the market.
Metroid Prime to Halo on Xbox.
I don't think if it had a regular disc system, I still don't think it would have made a difference for support at all.
Well, because there was a perception about the GameCube.
There was a lot of third-party games that had to cut out stuff. Like one of the Tony Hawk's games had a character and a level missing.
Stuff that did come would have more stuff in it, but I don't think it would have made a difference in what. I think a common misconception with GameCube because Nintendo, it's more powerful than the PS2 and yada yada yada. Like, why didn't it have more third-party games? It didn't sell very well. There was no incentive to release those games there. Like, they already abandoned Nintendo on the N64, and GameCube didn't do anything sales-wise to make people want to come back. Like, like everyone thinks, oh, if you just match the power, no, you need an audience. Third party aren't going to show up. Like Nintendo could release a PlayStation 5 like home console, and if it only sells 10 million units, no one's coming. There's no belief in Nintendo's ability to compete on that level with these other companies, not just power wise, just in terms of an audience that cares.
Yeah, it got really bad during the Wii U launch whenever all those console exclusive games came out for the Wii U and then didn't sell well, so they were like, well, we're gonna redo our contract and put these on PlayStation and Xbox so we can actually make back.
I mean, you can't really blame them.
Zombie and stuff.
Nintendo's most successful systems were never the most powerful. Nintendo Entertainment System, when it came out, was not even close to the most powerful at the time. But because of their policies with the games that ensured higher quality, consistent games when you go to retail, it led to it being a big boon and fixing a huge problem the industry had with no curation of games being released at retail.
And better power with Game Boy.
Yeah, Game Boy was pretty decent at the time, but then they kept it going way past its lifespan in terms of technology. Didn't care. When Game Boy Advance came out, it was not the greatest. DS, definitely not even close to the most powerful handheld at the time. Didn't matter. Wii, Switch, etc. Like the history of Nintendo is when we make cheap, affordable systems, with a good library of games, we're successful. When we try to, hey, let's be like everyone else, we're just not as good as them at what they do. So let's just not even try. Companies don't care. They go to Nintendo, like, and it's just, I love GameCube. I hate like slandering GameCube. But guys, it wasn't that much more successful than Wii U. It was considered a failure. That's why we existed. Like it bombed.
I may have heard this from you, Nate.
Wasn't even that big of a success. People laugh at Xbox, and then 64 sold Xbox numbers. Like they were basically they had the NES that was successful. All other home consoles were tanking after that. Nothing could get back to NES until Wii.
I was literally about to say that. And I think you were the one that mentioned it before, that from the NES, NES until the Wii.
Yeah, like the three biggest Nintendo home consoles of all time are literally NES, Wii, and Switch. Everything in between did not really do that well for Nintendo. We all have fond memories. But like when N64 is doing half the sales of the NES, like that's not good. That's nobody looks at that at Nintendo and says this was good. No, it wasn't. It didn't do well. Now, handheld wise, that's a different story. Nintendo's always crushed it with the handhelds. And I think that's what upsets a lot of people is a lot of people grew up exclusively playing consoles. Like, oh, now all we have is the hand. I'm like, Nintendo's bread and butter where they made all their money was handheld. It's like the one thing that kept selling for them all the time. 80 million plus Game Boys, 80 million plus GBAs, 150 million DSs, even 3DS, which is their lowest handheld of all time, 75 million, which is higher than any console until Wii. So, like, Nintendo's always been kind of more of a handheld company than a home console company when it comes to what actually makes the money. But I don't know. People don't like reality. They just think if Nintendo would just make a super powerful system, it's going to be awesome and they're going to win. And I'm like, I just don't see
Well, they're half right. It will be awesome. They just won't make the money.
It'll be awesome like day
They
one.
won't have the sales.
Like whatever game they launch it with, or they worked hard on, it'll be sweet. And then it still won't get third-party support. People will stop buying it because they start realizing I'm spending $500 on a Nintendo that I still need a friend code to add to my friends list that I can't voice chat on. It's missing all of these features. And because they still don't want to pay a premium to use Blu-ray discs to Sony, it'll go back to the Wii U proprietary discs, which are more expensive. There'll always be something because Nintendo will standardize.
Never mind.
There'll always be something. Besides, I think they're onto something with hybrid. I think they should just keep going with this. They should just milk this hybrid concept until cows come home.
I agree. I really hope that for whatever next hardware generation, like the best case scenario would be Switch 2 or something like that, because it's the concept, the form factor it's good. I love it. From a content creation standpoint, it's way easier for me to have a dock here at my desk and one on my TV downstairs in the living room and be able to just take the switch between the two. Things like that. It's just I just love the concept. I love the console. If they had a dedicated home console, then I would have it just in one spot or the other and either end up never playing it on my own time or never streaming or making videos with it, right? So it is what it is.
I legit just think it's not a concept that I feel like is like I don't think it's a gimmick. I don't know what people call it. I don't think it's a gimmick. I think it's it's a way to game form factor that nobody else is really doing besides Steam Deck, which arguably doesn't direct compete because there's no such thing as Steam Deck exclusive games.
True.
So we're at this point that if no one else is going to do it, then why would you stop? Like imagine that nobody else ever made handheld video game systems. It was only Nintendo. Well, then they'd never stop making handheld video game systems. You just keep going. Why you don't need to like innovate a billion times if no one else is doing it. Just keep releasing better hardware with more games. Now I know Nintendo has this philosophy: we always got to do something new. We always got to be imaginative. Yeah, sometimes it's okay not to. Just look at Sony selling 100 million every time they drop a system. Sometimes you know what? You innovate in ways that make sense, but keep everything there that works. As an example, you want to innovate Hall sensors in your joysticks. You'll be the first home console. You'll be the first major platform holder to have them just default in your system. It just improves what's already there. Add the haptic to the triggers like PlayStation 5 did. Totally optional, but hey, it's nice that it's there. It's an option. You don't need to have like 5 screens and whatever other crazy ideas I come up with. Go back to glasses free 3D because it was a big selling point that first time around.
It's funny how I think there was some statistic about how many people actually used 3D, and it was like an absurdly low number. Like most people just left it off.
Tries it at launch. Everyone tries it at launch, and then they did that game where you're shooting things, and then they're like, "That's cool. This is cool." But when I'm actually playing games, I just kind of get a headache. I don't really want it.
Yeah. Like there are, I'll say like recently, maybe it was earlier this year, I think I replayed A Link Between Worlds. Great Zelda game. And there are some moments where it's like they designed this with the idea that you'd play this with 3D on, like launches up in the air towards the screen. And it's like, okay, it's neat, but this doesn't contribute to anything gameplay wise. Like it doesn't, it's not
movies. Like it just like
it is like that. But like the quality of the film, of the script and the characters in the film is not impacted by going to see a movie in 3D, right?
Yeah. Like Avatar, the last movie I thought 3D added anything to in terms of immersing yourself in the world. Because it was built to do that. But
But you could still watch that movie without it and enjoy it.
It's still good. Yeah, it's still a good movie without it. I mean, a good movie is a good movie. You don't have to have 3D. But if you're going to have it, just like if you're going to have it with a game, it should enhance it some way, not just be a gimmick.
Let me tell you about this console given to us from the heavens called Virtual Boy.
Okay, why are we talking about Virtual Boy?
3D.
But was it good?
Have you actually used it? I would not call it 3D. I've played a Virtual Boy. It is not 3D. I know that they say it's 3D. I
played that tennis game.
Yeah, that's like
I've never
played it. Has played because it's the most common game.
And then
I have never touched a Virtual Boy. I can say with confidence, and I don't really plan to. It might be a neat shelf piece, but that's it.
You really shouldn't play a lot of Virtual Boy. It's not good for your eyes.
The reason I didn't play the 3DS with 3D on most of the time was because the resolution's already 240p, which is the same as a Super Nintendo, and if you play with 3D on, that cuts the resolution in half because it has to render for both of the screens or whatever. So,
not ideal.
Yeah, and I think it cuts the frame rate down too. So you're getting half the frame rate and half the resolution.
Oh, does it?
Well, because it has to show for
like a buttery good. It is 60, I think.
Yeah, it is
60 frames for A Link Between Worlds, and it's buttery smooth. It's so good.
That's actually impressive.
So, it is actually impressive for the little 3DS to do that. But a well optimized game, like Metroid Prime on GameCube ran at 60 FPS. That's just like an achievement. That's a technological achievement. That's optimization goes a long way.
I think F-Zero on Super Nintendo ran at 60. Maybe it was the N64. It was one of the two. Anyways, do you guys see the next question? We'll have 2 more questions. Daniel, you can pick one, then Nate will end with your question, and then we can call the FBI and tell them to come rescue me from Daniel's basement.
You got all the ones that were on your Instagram, I guess?
On Instagram, and then there's one on Discord, and then there's a few that I've seen in the chat that looked good.
Yeah, let's see. One on Discord. I'll just nab that one. That is from Fry, who asked, what is everyone's favorite Zelda character?
Ilia.
Absolute favorite. Really?
No.
I was going to say, I know for a fact that your girlfriend despises the character of Ilia. So I thought we were going to have a little bit of drama here.
For now, I'm going to side with Aonuma and say Thelma. I was reading an interview earlier whenever I was looking for questions for the Triforce Trivia. There was an interview where Aonuma said that he wished he could have found out a way to have an amiibo of Thelma. Or Thelma, whatever her name is. And I'm like,
Telma, yeah.
No, at least he has his priorities straight.
True.
What's your favorite character? Good old Daniel.
I like my brain. I'm like scrolling through all the ones I like. I really like. I really like 𝗵𝗃 in. This is almost a cop out in Hyrule Warriors specifically. I think 𝗵𝗃's really quite like that. But then that's like spin-off game, so I don't know if that counts.
Canon, according to you, gentlemen. Canon. Get it in there.
But I do really like that character. I think 𝗵𝗃's great in that game. Yeah. I don't know what else to pick. Beetle is always a favorite. I always love Beetle. I just feel joy whenever he's on screen.
I feel like we need a top 10 in no particular order.
Yes. All right, I'm gonna stop. Nate, your go.
Non-jokingly, Tingle.
𝗏𝗏𝗴𝗃𝗏.
He represents, I think, what all of us should want to be.
A kidnapper?
35-year-old man who's not ashamed to be a fairy.
There's that too.
And he's an entrepreneur. He runs his own map business.
And doesn't let his dad boss him around.
He knows who he is. He's successful. He dealt with hardships when he was younger. If you played the Tingle games, you know what I'm talking about. That he had to come through to actually be more mature than you might think he is. And he's an adult that never let go of his childhood dreams.
He's a good artist.
And that is something I think too many adults do. We get too serious. We gotta graduate college. We gotta be this. We gotta be that. Then you get to retirement and you realize you spent most of your adult life being miserable, just so you could have a 401k or something.
He got arrested. Didn't let it get him down.
No.
He has great entrepreneurial ship.
Mm-hmm.
He
the most powerful traits of all.
Has a great imagination. He can draw really well.
For some people, you think maybe he's got a good fashion sense. For some people, I don't.
And
he's an icon.
And
no joke.
What's the word I'm trying to think of?
You dress up like Tingle in Japan, and people want you to sign autographs. He's a legit icon.
Yes,
he's a great innovator for his balloon idea.
Mm-hmm.
He could fly before Link.
Good answer. That's true. That's also true.
He's just a badass. People make fun of him. He's a badass.
Well, he did something impressive enough to get an island named after him in Breath of the Wild. So.
Mm-hmm.
It just keeps adding up. Tingle is literally one of the best characters. Just is what it is. Surprised he's not the hero, for crying out loud. That's just how he's just there. He knows what's up. He always seems to know everything at all times for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I'll draw you a map of a dungeon I've never been to because I know everything about it. Have a good day. Well, what? Yo, thank you. I don't know how you did it, but thanks for pulling that out of your ass.
And he has 3 of his own games.
Yes, he does.
True.
Absolutely.
Tingle is also kind of like a state of being in a way, more than a man. Just putting that out there.
I literally modeled my life after him. And then I had children. I don't know how Tingle raises kids, but I don't think he does. But that's okay.
I don't know if he does.
I feel like I raised kids in the way Tingle would, if he had them. Meaning they're all floating up in balloons right now. I probably should check on them quick.
There's a lot of good answers flying around chat. A lot of people saying 𝗵𝗃, who has a great character arc. I really do like how well written she is. Also, Groose is also a good character with a great arc. But I actually am thinking Lineback from Phantom Hourglass is kind of often forgotten about. But he has a great arc. He ends up helping you in the battle in the end, and then he gets possessed a little bit.
I almost just drank Patron, and I hate Patron.
Okay. All right. Before I make Nate more upset here.
That's all right.
I just think he's amusing, and he clearly puts on like a front of confidence. But there's more going on. I would say the same for Groose as well, and 𝗵𝗃 even. There's sort of like a facade of confidence there.
I'll give you Gnus. I like Gnus.
Gnus is great. Gnus is a great character.
Gnus Land, baby. I'll grab one question from the chat quick for mine. We'll just this comes from 𝗵𝗲. He says, "Do you guys believe in the Metroid Prime remake rumor?"
Yes.
I flip-flop on this one a lot, to be honest.
I think it exists. So I'm going to say yes. Obviously, if we're talking about like the Jeff Grubb and obviously that's not happening this year, but the whole that it exists, absolutely, because I do trust Emily Rogers, who said Nintendo's literally just sitting on a bunch of games. And I think that's one of them.
And I think that's a legit train of thought, because they have a jam-packed year of games this year. And so they don't want to have a year where that momentum slows down. So if they've got a year where they don't have as many, if they've got a backlog of games that they're just sitting on,
I think they don't want like a 2018 and a 2020 where there just wasn't a ton of games that came out those 2 years. They had two amazing, really big games come out, but there was a lot of gaps, and they're like, hey, this whole having games all year long thing, working really well for Switch. We should just keep this going.
Yeah.
And they've been, like, they've had games finished and then holding them for a few months or 6 months or whatever until they release it. Ever since...
I like Mario Odyssey was done before Switch even came out.
Well, the oldest interview that I seen, which was a video that Daniel helped me out with, was Miyamoto. I think it was Miyamoto. It was an interview with him and the director of the Dragon Quest series, or at least the director at the time. And he said that A Link to the Past, they were talking about A Link to the Past, and he was like, "Yep, the game's already done. We just don't want to release it so close to Dragon Quest because they're both like RPG adventure games, and they don't want them to."
Yeah, they wanted to space them out so that people would buy both.
Yeah,
because if they release them too close together, people will buy one or the other, essentially. Yeah, which is I think exactly why what Nate said makes sense, is that they've got games ready to go. They're just holding on to them until they need to fill in some gaps.
Look at how packed early year next year already is, and I understand that like there's only the two big games, Fire Emblem Engage and then Zelda. But I look at the games they have going on in between. Bayonetta Origins now, the Kirby Return to Dreamland remake. Like they're just packing it in. Like they've got a ton of stuff. So they're just going to spread it out. Some of that stuff's going to end up on next gen. But either way, they just have they're in a good spot where they just have almost too much. Because people forget, this is the first time ever all of Nintendo's development teams are making for a single platform. This isn't split. So the pandemic might have messed things up, but what it messed things up with is everyone started getting done with their projects at the same time. So they just have a ton of stuff they're sitting on. And they just got to decide how they want to spread it out and how they want to... I'm of mine right now. The next Mario game is probably done. I think it's already done. Done and complete and sitting there. The next Mario Kart game might be halfway done at this point. Like, a lot of these things I think are done. It's just, when are we going to come out with it? What's the right release timing? What games do we want on this? What games do we want on new hardware? We're going to shift things around a bit. We want to make sure when we do new hardware, because people might not like talking about it, but sometime in the next 3 years, I think it's undeniable, there's something happening with hardware, at least in the next 3 years. So they got to start thinking about, hey, what do we want to launch that with? Is this something we might already have in the pistol? Do we want to go back to the drawing board and rework it a bit for the new hardware? So they're in a really... Like, if all you do is play exclusive games, then you should just own a Switch. Because there's more of them here than anywhere else.
True.
It just is. Like, for all the studios Microsoft's buying and all the output from Sony, like, the number of exclusive games that came... Oh, Sony's games won all these awards. I'm like, yep, and 5 different Nintendo games won an award. And there were like 11 nominated, because that's just how many exclusive games came out this year. You know,
let's just keep in mind, as far as like the train of thought of like, oh, there's only a couple big games coming out next year. It's like, just because we don't know about them yet doesn't mean they're not coming out next year. Like, because Nintendo doesn't announce everything years in advance. Yeah, we don't know.
We don't know second half of year stuff. Like, we know. I didn't even mention Pikmin 4 is announced for next year. We just don't know when it's coming.
Oh, baby Pikmin.
Yeah. And that game
makes
could be
my
done.
heart flutter.
That game could be done too. So this is one of those things. I do think Nintendo just legit has a lot of stuff sitting there, and they just don't know when to do it, and they want to keep the cadence, the mixture of the mid-tier games and the big names. They want to keep a good cadence of it, and they want to keep a good cadence of it while keeping in mind whatever they might be doing next with hardware. So I don't know. Nintendo's in a great place. It's a great time to be a Nintendo fan. They're backed up on content, in my opinion, and that is awesome.
Yes, I definitely agree. Especially for those of us who endured the game droughts, as we called them, during the Wii U era, where it was like
launch 9 months later before we get
like total game droughts. Like, I'm like, when is a game coming out that I can?
There were some indies here. That's cool. A retail game. Can we get a retail?
Yeah.
It's been 6 months since we've had a new retail game from anyone. Can we? Somebody give me Jack's Party Box for $10 at Walmart. What is happening? Why can't I get a game? It was pretty bad.
It was bad, man. I remember at one point watching a Nintendo Direct during the Wii U time and being like, the old, like, this Direct, it was like a bunch of JRPGs for 3DS, which is totally not my cup of tea. And I'm just like, there are no games to play. I've been replaying Shovel Knight and Smash for too long. Like, what is happening?
Okay, so I'm on my 5th playthrough of New Super Mario Brothers U.
Yeah.
The first day it came out.
Yeah. But now I find that there are more games than I can keep up with. Like, constantly, I can't keep up with all the games I want to play. It's a good problem to have. I like that there's more coming out than I have time to play. I like it because that means, one, I'm back to focusing on the games I actually like rather than feeling like sometimes I'm forced to play a game because there's nothing else to play. Right. That's a good point.
Like, but Nate, you didn't beat this game this year. You didn't beat this. Yep, because guess what? Other games came out I'd rather play, and I enjoy the fact that I actually have options. I like options. I don't feel like I got to buy everything because I have options, and I like that. As much as it is, but you could keep up with all the exclusives on Wii U. Yeah, but I would have rather there have been 5 times the amount of exclusives. I would have had more fun. Yeah, for sure. I agree with that. What a time it was. I'm glad we're out of that era. I just want to mention as well. Apparently, there is Zelda or bust. That's all he plays. Nothing else ever. In the chat here, Mr. Ash asked if we would consider trying to get original Zelda 64 developers on as guests to try and interview them about that stuff. I love the idea, but here's what I'll say is it's never going to happen. And I've seen interviews where former Nintendo employees have been asked questions about, hey, did you ever work on Zelda and this? And they said, I don't want the Nintendo ninjas after me, so I will not answer that. But if you're interested in that kind of thing, they just talk about everything. I don't know if Nintendo likes them anymore. They don't. They literally talk about everything. They just don't care. It's true, but a lot of people who've worked on Zelda specifically, they won't answer questions. They will not. They don't want the ninjas after them. The ninjas are real. It's just not gonna happen. But
we had
especially talking about specifically developers who worked in those games. Kiwi Talks is a great channel who does a podcast who constantly has ex-retro employees on and has talked some great stuff with them. But that's more if you're into things like Metroid or Donkey Kong Country, Tropical Freeze, or make sure you're not showing documents for a Zelda game that was only pitched and never shown because then Nintendo says, did you know gaming had their video taken down like that just for talking about time ever. That was wild. It's a game that wasn't even Nintendo's pitch. It was Retro's pitch. It never went into development ever. It was never actually a thing. It was just an idea. You don't own ideas, Nintendo. That's not really how that works. You didn't come up with the idea. These people that came up with it shared the idea with Did You Know Gaming just as a random weird. It's like a random weird fact
in Nintendo history. At one point, there was a tactics game pitched to him. Cool. And guess what? At one point, there was a Zelda Netflix show pitched to him too, and nobody got mad about that. There was no ninjas coming after that news.
Well, when that news leaked, I mean, Miyamoto pulled the plug on Netflix. But
yeah, well, I don't think it was
that was like.
I don't think it was ever.
But that was
kind of the thing, you know.
True, but that was also different because that was like when it was actively happening, not like 2 decades later. Like, jeez.
And
like,
the thing is, like, they just did another video on canceled Zelda games,
Metroid.
the retro pitch. Like they had the one with the Sheik game where they actually had a playable demo, and it's like, but you didn't shut that video down, and you're shutting down this one that had nothing. It's a big nothing burger. It's just cool to think about, but there's nothing there. My only thought in my mind is, are they making one of these types of games right now for like a phone? And
that could be cool. Maybe not for mobile.
That should be the real question. Will there ever be a Zelda mobile game? I mean, the answer is yes.
I don't want that. I don't want that.
Well, the answer is yes. I mean, they're gonna do it someday. It's gonna happen.
I don't want it.
It'll just be Tetris trackers on phone.
I want them to release that game, actually. Release Tetris trackers and the 2D Breath of the Wild prototype.
They had voice acting.
Like $2 on the eShop. I would buy it.
Dude, the Breath of the Wild prototype would sell millions. If they
would.
Even if they don't complete it. Look, it's just this thing where you chop down a tree and you push it. People are buying it. It's happening. It's part of history.
Yeah.
Wait, what? What beta?
What could have been?
The 2D Breath of the Wild
prototype. Oh, yeah, okay. I was thinking
people would buy
about the 2014 or 15 demo.
Release that too.
Release the Space World 2000 demo while we're at it as well. Let's go.
Just release everything. I want it all.
Every demo that's ever existed for Zelda, give it. Give it now.
I want it all. I want to catalog these things.
Unlocked Wii U tech demo. Unlocked. No time limit. Give it to me now.
Yeah.
I want to get outside let me see. Did you stop development inside, or is there an outside area as well that you just didn't show? I want to know. Let me do it.
Yeah, I actually do want that. I unironically want that.
If they did, it would look really good too, because it was the Sacred Meadow.
It would look really good too. Yeah.
Do it. Dude, that people have already. As I say, I want to explore the underwater in the Wind Waker, but they already did that. Someone already
had. Daniel, how you doing?
Jesse. Oh, good. I'm just looking at the time here, thinking we should.
I think it's your half-hour time, so I'm kind of like.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was getting to. Daniel, if people wanted to find more from you, check out your stuff. I seen you had your own stream scheduled coming up later.
That's for tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Yes. But I guess if they wanted to, if they were like, oh, I want to hear this guy talk more because he's not too annoying, then everything, all the social media channels, everything is at 𝗵𝗃 That's 𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 the captain of trivia, that's for sure. All the links are in the description below as well. And yeah, I play a lot of Zelda games. I stream a lot of Zelda games. I make videos about Zelda dungeons mostly, but sometimes whatever other topic I find most interesting to talk about at the time. So yeah, if you want to check that out, I would appreciate it. That's who I am. That's me.
Nice. And of course, we have the one, the only, the very handsome, the very epic, amazing Nate from Nintendo
Mr.
Prime.
Pumpkin.
Go subscribe to his channel, Nintendo Prime. It'll make you 2 inches taller. You'll lose some weight, get a little bit stronger. Your bank account will grow an extra 0 at the end of it. And
Well, 0 with a 0. That's not gonna. It's still
What?
0. Adding a 0 to a bank account is nothing but zeros. It's still
add a 0 to the end of it. So if you have like $5,000, then you'll have $50,000.
But if you have $0,
You have $0. Add
then
I meant like
my bank account actually is a negative right now, so I think if I added a 0, I'm even deeper.
you don't want that. You do not want
negative
that.
like $5 right now. I don't need to be negative 50.
Yeah, Nate. Where
Yeah,
can
no,
people
that's fair.
find
Don't
you?
get kidding when I say, guys, I live paycheck to paycheck. That's just, it's a life choice. I don't have to. I'm choosing to because I'm trying to be full time on YouTube. But I could easily get out of this rut and go work somewhere else. So no one needs to feel bad for me. It's a choice. I'm shooting my shot.
So how you doing,
Shoot
Nate?
it.
Where can people find more of your stuff? Do you have a
Just-
live stream coming up anytime soon? People could check out.
No.
No. Okay.
In fact, I think I've only done 5 live streams that weren't podcasts in the last month and a half, which is kind of bad since 3/4 of the revenue on my channel comes from live streams. So, I will say this. I will have a live stream next week, Monday. I'll be back to my normal streaming schedule for the holiday season there. And then, otherwise, just check out the Nintendo Prime YouTube channel. That's where all my content is. I got shorts, I got podcasts every Wednesday, except it's Tuesday next week, and all that stuff. I just got a lot of stuff. I do a lot of things. I talk news about all things Nintendo. Obviously, I'm big into Zelda, even though apparently my Zelda knowledge is trash. And I don't know. I guess I'm on Twitter if anyone wants to follow on there. And I post up shorts on like Nintendo facts as well as doing Nintendo news. That's about it. Oh, I will be. This is a shout out to my friend Mike Odyssey. He's doing a giveaway event tomorrow on his YouTube channel, Mike Odyssey, at 2 p.m. Central Time tomorrow, and I will be on that show at some point for like a half hour.
Ooh.
Which is crazy because between this show and that one tomorrow, I have now officially streamed more on other people's channels this week than on my own.
Wild.
Priorities.
That's
Priorities.
actually wild.
Priorities.
That's unlike you.
No. Used to stream 4 days a week. What happened?
Yeah,
I didn't get burned out. It's the holiday season. It's just
that's true.
October on forward. It's impossible. Just a lot.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Especially when you got 3 kids like you do.
Yeah.
So I've only got 1, and it's a lot. So you
Well,
know.
the thing is, you only left for work 2 hours ago, and my kids haven't said anything to me yet. And that scares me. What I'm about to walk into right now.
You're gonna walk up.
They're older, by the way, guys. There's like a
House
12-year-old, a 9-year-old, and a 7-year-old. So they're like little tiny kids, but I'm still scared what I'm about to see when I go upstairs. It's gonna be
Fire.
bad.
It's gonna be fire.
No, not fire. We have a
Literal
fire. We
fire.
actually have a hardwired fire alarm system. It would be going off down here if we had it. Oh,
Well, that's
boy.
good. There you go.
I'm hoping that they just like started watching a movie and then just like maybe they fell asleep. Oh.
Oh, but that's ideal.
No,
That's
chance.
the ideal.
No, that's not ideal because then they're gonna be up late tonight.
Oh, okay. Touche.
But it's okay. It's whatever. I'm sure they're playing video games or something. I'm sure
There you go. There you
they're
go.
probably playing Switch. My Switch because it's missing. See, here's my dock.
Oop.
Oh, it's the
That
OLED
old
model
that
too.
dock.
Yeah. Which means the Joy-Cons are probably broken again.
No.
Every time they play, they break my Joy-Cons. So
See, I have a dedicated, I have 2 dedicated pairs of Joy-Cons that only I touch.
that's the way it was. I had a dedicated Switch that only I touch.
I also have that. So
Yeah, when you have multiple kids,
Yeah.
it's amazing what happens when you aren't home and then you come back and here they are all playing on my Switch for some reason. What was wrong with the old Switch that I gave to mom? Why aren't you playing with that? It's dead. So plug it in.
put it on the dock. Oh boy. Oh boy.
Yeah. Honestly, if that's what they're breaking, it's probably the least expensive thing that's in this room. So I guess it's just I'll live with that. I'd rather them mess with that than the Rodecaster or the camera or the laptop or the TV. And this microphone right here costs more than a Switch. So
There you go.
The funny thing is, I feel like I'm bragging, as I just said, I have negative money in my bank account. As I told you earlier, my priorities are not straight. I own all this expensive shit, but I can't afford a frozen pizza.
Investments.
I wasn't kidding. I do not make good investments. I don't.
These
I
are
should
good
just have a Blue
investments.
Yeti microphone and a webcam, and that's all I should have.
They seem like good investments to me.
It looks nice.
It does look nice.
They always say, what do they always say? Dress to impress, not dress because you actually have anything.
That's right.
Well, there you go. I have equipment to impress, but not because I'm actually got the success to match it.
Yeah, that's how it goes. That's
definitely how it goes. To be fair, a lot of the stuff when it was purchased, besides the Rodecaster and these mics, but everything else in here was purchased at a time that my channel was doing very, very well, and then I got hacked. And since then, that's when things got. But I also wasn't full time then, and now I'm full time now. So I don't know. I'm really messed up.
When did the hack thing happen?
When I'm successful. What?
When did the hack thing happen?
October 22nd last year.
It was some crypto bro hack thing.
I think I may remember that.
Dogecoin hack.
And everything has just been.
That was around the time that I was moving.
So I started doing shorts, and yeah, shorts do well. That's cool. I don't make money on shorts. I mean, in February. I guess in February.
Yeah.
I don't think
once you're able to actually monetize shorts.
Yeah, and I still don't think it's going to be very much. Like the shorts do well. I got a short that has like 140,000. Another one's going to hit 70 soon, and like that's cool.
Right.
But I still think the revenue on those is going to be like $5. I don't expect it to be much. I mean, how much can you expect for something that's like 18 seconds long? Like there's something in my mind that doesn't click that you can really make money doing that. But then people are making money on TikTok. So you know what? I don't know how this works. I am not a young one anymore. I am old, and I don't understand why people watch shorts. But I make them. People watch. I make them and people watch. So I guess that's all that matters. I basically found a format that somebody else does that seems to get a lot of views, and I go, I think I can copy that. That's where I got my entire shorts format from, with somebody else. So
we have a couple people in the chat that said they subscribed to you guys. So
it's so appreciated.
Mr. Ash subscribed. To see that.
So appreciated.
Sam Wong.
I did say that if I hit 3K by the end of December, that I will stream Link's crossbow training
without pants.
Did you
the pants thing? No one will know. You don't even know now.
You never stand up. No one will know. Oh, you're close to 3K too.
But I am. I am wearing pants.
You didn't want to keep the suspense.
So I didn't want people. I don't want people imagining things are getting any.
By Christmas, and you're gonna do a pantsless stream. Is that what I just?
Let's. I think I said Link's crossbow training.
I can promote that. We'll get you the 120 subs in here. I can promote that.
So last month I did a stream where I said any super chat over $5, I will eat a banana, and you wouldn't believe the amount of bananas I ate, or maybe you would. It was a lot of bananas. It caught up to me later. I had like a pile of bananas sitting here, and we got through most of them.
That reminds me when like 2018, 2019, when I used to be like, I'll do a shot for every super chat.
I remember
it was legal alcohol. It was before I decided, let's do some of them as beer shot. Though it was like vodka, tequila, Jaeger. Like I'm like, why am I doing this? Now, granted, those streams made a lot of money. My life, though, regretted a lot of those streams. So now it's like, I still do shots for super chats, but now it's only big ones that get the real booze. The rest get like a beer. Some people do dollar ones are now just shots of water to hydrate.
Hydration's important.
But yeah, I got that more under control. I always would have cut myself off before it got too bad. There's only one time I didn't, and it was New Year's Eve this year into New Year's Day. I did not cut myself off. Then I got Yulia involved after she got home from work after midnight, and then she got drunk on stream. And I think we streamed until almost 7 a.m. or something. That was a crazy night. I don't even remember how it ended.
I don't know. I couldn't do that.
I made it to bed, and I did hit end stream somehow, so my muscle memory worked. And I have not...
YouTube just cut you off at the 12-hour mark.
Here's a true story. One night, Daniel and I were drinking, And at one point, we were both laying in the bathtub.
That did happen.
And there's a
that
picture.
did happen in LA. Yeah, well, not naked.
No.
You know, there was no water in the tub or anything. We were just in the bathtub. And the reason was because Chub was puking. And I think we had gone in there and to like hold her hair back for her or something. And then we sat down in the bathtub because where else are you going to sit? Well, the toilet's being puked into. And then we were just chilling. And then she actually came and sat with us. And there's a photo of the three of us drunk as hell in a bathtub. Just, again, there's no water. There was full clothes on. There was no
missed opportunity for fun times. Like, it was like a water park experience, but in the room.
Well, that kind of fun times. I was going to say, no, we don't have that kind of. None of that.
You get the slip and slide action. You guys could have been skating.
This is all innocent.
It is innocent. Like, look, I'm not going to deny this. One time when I didn't know what my kids were doing, apparently they took a bath. And what they really meant was we soaped the entire bathroom and were sliding on our stomachs everywhere.
Oh, my God. They got the idea.
And the idea of soap everywhere. You know, like, it's not just grab a mop and clean it up. I was in there for 3 hours still trying to get soap off the floor.
Shenanigans.
What? Kids do crazy things when you're not. Speaking of that, we should probably end the streams.
We should.
Yeah.
We should.
So,
if I take too long, I won't be there in time.
Funny thing is, I've actually checked. By the way, guys, I've actually checked on them like 4 times. We have security cameras in our house. I already know what they're doing.
All right, the house is not on fire.
No. Yeah, I have to because I work down here. So I'm like, oh yeah, when I'm home, I'm gonna make sure I can see them. So yeah, we installed security cameras.
There you go.
That's really cool.
But yeah, I do got to wrap this up because I got to make sure I can pick my kid up from school. So,
he's like, Dad, I was waiting here for 6 hours.
No, I mean, at this point, I'll be fine. But
yeah,
you know.
So we have been streaming for about 3.5 hours. It's been quite a while since we've done a podcast this long. We used to do podcasts this long all the time, like 3.5 hours.
I apologize.
So I'll be at the end of it.
No, the longer it goes, that just means we're having more fun. But
I'll just
thank you, Nate, for hanging out with us and dealing with our nonsense and my rescheduling of an hour. And thank you to everyone in the chat that's just hung out this last little bit and listened to us talk about nonsense. And all the super chats, thank you. If you want to support Daniel, go to youtube.com/CaptBurgerson. If you want to help support Nate, you can go to youtube.com/NintyPrime.
At Ninty Prime.
Ninty Prime. Just need 116 more for that Link's crossbow training stream happens. 116 more subs, guys.
All right, everyone.
Let's do it.
Wonderful day, and we'll see you next week. I think we're going to be doing on Fridays for now, and I don't really know. But yeah.
So,
bye, everybody.
Bye.